September 21st, Planetary Calendar 209. Following a raft of oppressive policies and crackdowns from the Earth-based government of the Solar Federation, joint forces of the Martian territories, and the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet rebelled. This conflict came to be known as the Solar War. The war carried on for 3 years, but eventually the combined forces of the Martian territories and Jovian Unified Colony Fleet managed to push the Federation military back to planet Earth. In the final days of the conflict, a pitched battle was fought in lunar orbit that would decide the fate the war's victor. Lunar orbit aboard the Jovian carrier JFS Kaliki. You reflexively tighten your grip on your armored frame's twin flight sticks as another wave of vibrations reverberates through the cockpit. The creak of your new flight suit and your quickening breath are the only sounds you hear above the gentle hum of the frame's subsystems. As you squeeze the controls tighter, their plastic casings creak under the pressure. You try to stay calm, knowing that these gentle vibrations are remnants of huge shock waves that are buffering through the buffet. Yep, I think it's buffering. Buffeting? I guess that's also a word. Buffeting the Kaliki, the carrier that you're stationed on. Each one is a near miss as an explosion tears through space around the ship. You try to push it from your mind and focus on controlling your breathing. But you've already realized that their frequency means the Kaliki must be approaching the front line. Your squadron will be launched as soon as your squadron will be launching soon, and you'll be engaging in your first real sortie. Your first real flight, in fact. You feel your throat tighten. Simulations are as good as the real thing. That's what your trainer told you all. But you know... Oh, hold on. But you know that the pilots are supposed to have hundreds of hours of live flights and training exercises in real armored frames before they're allowed anywhere near the front lines. Of course, that didn't happen. Command has told you that the modern simulators meant cadets could graduate without the need for these exercises. That sounds like a terrible bit of advice, by the way. You overheard the rumors, though. The Jovian colony fleet had lost a lot of pilots, and still wanting to keep pace with the Martian advance against Earth. Hold on. Did Martian advance against Earth had resorted to fielding anyone that could fight. Your whole squadron is just like you, freshly conscripted from the Europa colony. You'd undergone basic training there, but almost all of your flight training had taken place on the cruiser's journey from Jovian space. You wonder how the others are feeling right now. Whether... Oh. Kaliki 5, this is the flight deck. We're preparing your squad for takeoff. Running last-minute diagnostics on your frame. Activating all systems. Now. Alright, looks good to go. We'll run a few more checks, then we'll have you spaceborne in a few minutes. You ready to show those Terrans who's boss? Damn straight, I'm ready to kick some ass. Yeah, can't wait to get out there. I'm gonna... You stammer, trying your best to convince not the engineer but yourself that you're ready for what's waiting for you. Whoa, take a breath there, Kaliki 5. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. It's not gonna be... It's not gonna be that bad out. No need to get all riled up here in the hangar. Tell you what, pilot, what's your name? Okay, Bernie, what's your surname? Bernie the cat. He, him, yep. Bernie the cat, is that right? Yes. Okay, Ensign the cat. God damn it. I should be called Ensign Bernie. My last name should have just been Bernie. Oh well. Okay, Ensign the cat. First step, take a few breaths with me. In and out, nice and slow. You got that? You draw in one long measured breath and hold it, then release. Following the engineer's instructions, you repeat this a few more times. After a while, you begin to feel your pulse slow, and some of the tension in your body slip away. You still feel on edge. But you feel slightly more in control. Alright, there we go. Now listen up, Ensign. You ain't got a thing to worry about out there. Way I hear... The way I've heard is all that the Terran's best pilots were taken care of between here and Mars. Oh, that's good news. We're not gonna die. Heck, Martians are the ones who've been leading the charge today. So they're the ones taking all the flack. Propaganda machines selling this as our decisive strike against Earth's last line of defense. But between you and me, it ain't nothing more than a mopping up situation, buddy of mine. Oh, buddy of mine. This is one of those people that talks like an anime character, or like how they do in Cyberpunk, where they don't have a starting, like, word when they start a sentence. They start kind of, like, not mid-sentence, but after the first word. They won't say, I don't know. They'll say, like, don't know. That's the kind of writing it is, I think, and that's why the guy is kind of doing it. He's not saying, a buddy of mine. He's saying, buddy of mine. That makes sense. That's a very common way of writing anime and stuff like that, which is good. I'm not complaining. Buddy of mine in operations said as much in the canteen last night. Besides, oh, thank God I can hit spacebar to advance the text. I don't have to click. You hear a dull ring over the comms as you sit bolt upright in your seat, slouching back and exhaling as you realize it's nothing more than the engineering striking the cockpit's armor on your frame. This beauty right here is a work of art. Terran frames ain't got nothing on her. She's all tuned up and ready to go. Probably spent more time with this one than I have with my own kid. Ha! So don't worry. Remember what they taught you in training, and leave the rest to her, and you'll come out of this just fine. Despite your startled reaction a moment ago, the engineer's confidence is infectious, and it's starting to rub off on you. You adjust your position in your seat, so that you sat up straight, and the soft hum of the frame systems now seem to be more comforting than ominous. Just a mopping up operation, you think. The Martians have done all the work. We're just sitting pretty here in our top-of-the-line frames, yeah. Nothing to worry about. So, Ensign the Cat, how are you feeling about things now? Feeling good and ready to go. Okay, so I have to enter to do that, to select it. That's fine. But, there's a thing about accessibility I've learned when it comes to game development, myself working in, like, visual novel engines. There's one really specific thing that a lot of people get really bent out of shape about, at least from what I've interacted with. They want spacebar to do everything, because of, like, accessibility issues and stuff like that. Now, I know this engine runs in RenPy, so I do know that they can do that, so hopefully the developers end up watching this in some kind of way, which I do hope that they do, just for feedback's sake. I hope that they make the spacebar also something that can choose things. There might be a reason why they don't do that too, so, you know. Yeah, I'm ready to get out there and kick some ass. You declare, channeling your newly tapped well of confidence. That's the spirit, Ensign. Now hang on to that. And we'll have you out those hangar doors and kicking Terrans around in no time. I was almost gonna stream my stream. Zero commentary, no talking in chat from me, just gameplay, no talking from chat. In chat from me. I don't know, Abyssal. Left alone with your thoughts, you tune back into the gentle hum of the frame. You watch the seconds tick away on the cockpit clock, whilst you wait for the order to launch. The wait seems to drag on and on. You carry out the last minute of flight checks as you already completed them when you boarded. Nothing has changed. Oh, cool! Look at the little face in the corner. That's a really nice feature. Alright, pilots, listen up. This is Kayla Key 1. It could be Kaleki. Kaliki? Kaliki. It is probably Kaliki. We've been cleared for launch, so be ready for immediate action. All frames will be taking off in a designated order. Attack formation sound off. Kayla Key 2, ready. This is Kayla Key 3, ready. It's Kayla Key 4, ready to take off. You. Kayla Key 5, confirm your status. Oh, yeah, Kayla Key 5, standing by. Keep it together, Kayla Key 5. Kayla Key 6? Kayla Key 6, ready. Alright, Kayla Key Squadron, move out. If that's a word that's going to be said frequently, I want to be able to say it right, and I'm not sure. Launching. 2 launching. 3 launching. 4 launched. Oh, 3 launched. 4 moving out. Imagine the G's you would feel from that alone. You're just gonna be like, "Wah!" They're launching right into battle. The roll call of your squadron as they depart from the ship and accelerate rapidly towards the combat zone sounds almost like a countdown to you. Once Kayla Key 4 has declared their launch, you know your time has come. You disengage your restraints and prepare yourself. Kayla Key 5, launching. You shout as you slam the flight sticks forward for maximum thrust. Kayla Key 5, abort launch, cut thrusters. Kayla Key 5, abort launch, cut thrusters. The engineer's instructions barely register in the confusion as you've jerked around in the cockpit. Your helmet slammed on the control panel as a brief moment of thrusts throws you back into your seat before whipping you forward again. Warnings flash all over your monitors and sirens and alerts all over the screen, all over the sound, all over the cockpit. Kayla Key 5, abort launch and cut thrusters. It takes a few seconds for you to comprehend the engineer, but once you do, you quickly pull in the flight sticks back to the neutral position. The roar of your frame's engines dies from your, and your cockpit reigns its previous stillness. You wince as the metallic taste of blood fills your mouth. Alright, Kayla Key 5, hang tight for a moment. Your frame's restraints didn't accept the disengage command, so you're still attached to the Kayla Key. We're gonna need to run a diagnostic. Shouldn't take too long. You slump in your cockpit's chair and exhale deeply, your heart pounding a million beats per minute, and your lips stinging. He bit his lip, probably from going too fast, or from wanting to launch. You continue to slow your breathing as you listen to the still open communications channel from the maintenance crew as they work to get your frame released. Hey, yeah, looks like the restraints disengaged. Command didn't register. Yeah, Unit 5. Alright, yeah. Get Unit 6 out. No sense in waiting on this one. Okay, start the diagnostic, then reboot it if necessary. Kayla Key 6 launching. What do you mean, hardware fault? We've checked this thing 10 times since Mars, at least. Who was assigned to Unit 5? Oh, fine. Alright, shut down systems and run diagnostic again. I want this frame out there in the next 5 minutes. Kayla Key 5, we're gonna shut down your frame systems for a moment, so that we can run diagnostics. Stay ready, though. We'll have you launching soon. Kaliki 5 understood, ready and waiting. As your cockpit fades into darkness, again you release the flight sticks, and suddenly you realize how long you've been clenching your fists around them. You flex your fingers and roll your shoulders, exhaling again as you begin to hear the muffled sounds of engineers working on your frame's restraints. Staring at the den monitor, you begin to smile. This is what you wanted, wasn't it? You spent so long worrying about this mission that you'd thrown up twice in the past 24 hours, and now it looks like that was all for nothing. You got what you wanted and you were safe. As safe as you can be, strapped to the outside of a military carrier in an inactive armor frame anyway. Your smile widens inadvertently at the thought. Getting shot down in an inactive frame, still in restraints, you'd become a cautionary tale for engineers and pilots throughout the entire Jovian colony fleet. Your mind turns quickly to the rest of your squadron. As they returned, you'd be the laughingstock of the entire Kaliki. The pilot who spent their entire first mission stuck in a dark cockpit. You dodged a bullet, but you'd never... This is Kaliki 6. They cut off the flight path. There's more of them. There's a whole squadron of carriers coming in from E-Field. Kaliki 1. They're gonna cut you off from the fleet. Kaliki 6 signal disappears as you sit bolt upright. As you begin pressing buttons, trying to activate your cockpit's main monitor so that you can see what's going on. However, with your frame system shut down remotely by the maintenance crew, you can do nothing but sit there in the dark stillness and listen to the events unfold. Kaliki 6, respond! Kaliki 6, respond! What's going on? How many carriers are coming from Field E? Ma'am, Kaliki 6 signal has been lost. It's not responding. Ma'am, he's... Hold it together, Kaliki 4. All units form up. Defensive formation around me. I said all units. Kaliki 2, don't break formation. Ma'am, they're firing on us. There's so many of them. Oh my god, ma'am, help! In an instant, your communication channel is flooded with the cries of terror and panic. You hear your squad mates, your fellow pilots, exclamations of fear as this unexpected enemy bears down on them. Screams and yelps and wails and howls fill your head as you sit powerless in the dark confines of your cockpit. Hey, who's out there? Engineering! Hey! Get me ready! I can help! Get me ready to launch! Engineering! They're getting killed out there! I need to go, now! You shout demands to get your frame ready for launch over the channel. But you're met with no response. In the dark of the cockpit with your controls unresponsive, you can't be sure whether the channel is closed or if no one's listening, from all the attention turned to the receiving, the battle-damaged units from your squad. Listen to me! Anyone! Anyone! Get me out of there! You desperately begin attempting a manual override of your systems, but nothing responds to you. The spark of life that you can glean from your frame is the small diagnostic progress bar. I need to be out there! Anyone! Hey! In a last desperate attempt, you begin hammering on your cockpit walls, hoping to get the attention of the engineers to hear you outside earlier. The entire time, the chaos of the combat out in space is narrated to you in fragments of broken radio chatter. Kaliki, there's 3, 4, on me! I've lost my shield, I can't shake them! They're everywhere! There! Damn, another signal lost. The line of retreat's totally cut off! We can't get back to the ship! Man, what do we do? What do we do? Stop panicking and form up, 3 and 4, on me! We're gonna punch a hole through their formation and... Ma'am! Come in! Oh no, oh my god! One by one, your squad signals disappear as the cacophony of panics disappears, replaced by the gentle hiss of static. You stop hammering on the side of your cockpit as the last voice is cut off. You're drenched in a cold sweat now, and your empty stomach feels like a rock has sunk to the bottom of it. You lean back and stare blankly ahead. This is Kaliki 5. Ready for takeoff. September 21st. Planetary Calendar 209. Despite the last-minute reinforcements of the Solar Federation and from their headquarters on Earth, the battle above Lunar is a victory for the joint Martian and Jovian forces. This would be the final battle of the Solar War. Having lost their last stronghold on Lunar, the Solar Federation would agree to a ceasefire and sign an armistice to stop hostilities. An uneasy peace fills the solar system. With the conflict between the Solar Federation and the Martian Jovial Alliance concluded, the Kaleki and her crew are soon returned to the European colony near Jupiter. April 19th. Planetary Calendar 214. The reduced need for pilots away from the delicate space between Earth and Mars saw Ensign the Cat reassigned to security detail aboard various Jovian ships. He is eventually promoted to a lieutenant. Yep, they are dead. Welcome in, Zeldat. 4 years have passed since the battle above Lunar. The Jovian colony fleet, fearing the fresh aggression from Earth, has increased patrols near its colonies after picking up unusual signals coming from further out in the solar system. The patrol ship, the JSF Gundog, is dispatched to support the JSF O'Brien. JFS O'Brien. I keep thinking of JF Sebastian from Blade Runner. In its investigation of these signals. Jovian space aboard the Jovian patrol ship JSF Gundog. Oh! The UI changed. As the rumble of the Gundog's engines roaring to life reverberates through the ship, you clench your fists. It's been 4 years, and to this day the sensation of tremors, whether they're ship engines, docking clamps, or weapon drills, still ties your stomach in knots. A bad trait for a ship security officer. You shake your head. Ooh, that music's good. You shake your head and exhale slowly, taking a moment before stowing the last of your possessions and pushing the drawer closed. You feel a click as it locks in place, and the exterior plastic paneling sits completely flush with its surroundings. Stepping back, you look around the room. You take another deep breath and hold it for a moment. Although this was far from your first posting as a security officer, you always felt the same sense of trepidation, if not anxiety. As similar as all ships were, they all came with their own unique crew and personalities. With those came unique problems. Breathing out, you take a look around the room. Taking stock of your surroundings. Select the Look button to examine your surroundings by selecting the item of interest. Select it again when you're done. Okay. A standard crew bunk. Once you've slept in one, you've slept in all of them. Although this is one of the nicer ones that I've been assigned to. The wall panel can be removed by jimmying it with a thin object, and crew members often stash contraband in there. Looks like this one's not been touched, though. So this is going to be a lot of reading and description, and I like that. This reminds me a lot of the No More Heroes Travis Strikes Back visual novel segment, which was based on the green and black style adventure games that used to exist back in the day, but that was a visual novel exclusively. This is more of a visual novel / point and click, which is ideally one of my favorites. It's inspired by the PC 98 games that a lot of people never played but really like the art of. I think, like, realistically, there's about a handful of them that have been truly translated into English that most people know about. One of them being Dead of the Brain, which you can't stream on Twitch. Police Quest. No, Police Quest is, you're thinking of Police Knots. Police Knots and Snatcher were both PC 98 games. Those were made by Kojima. If I could, realistically, If I could just go back and play the visual novel segments of Travis Strikes Back again, I totally would, and I think I can, because they were so much fun. And they were so goddamn enjoyable. Sorry, my friend was telling me about something they were doing. Okay. Let's keep reading. I almost said let's keep breeding. This lets me control the room's lighting. Really? It looks like a bookcase. Okay. Room's lighting from the bed. I keep my books here too. Ah, there we go. I'm currently reading the Tales of the Cosmic Champions series. What do we got here? It's just a normal storage unit. I travel light, so mine only has clothes in it. Also, World of Horror is another game that was PC-98 inspired. This terminal lets me access the ship's computer. It's got a clock and a word processor and even a calendar. I can access records and my orders from here, but anything else I need access to the core. Need to access the core, which is limited to those in operations or command. Nothing else to click on from the looks of it. A standard door with an electronic lock and a magnetic bolting system. The only way in or out, unless you plan on getting creative, is the maintenance channels. There we go. I've only just boarded. It's still the middle of the day, based on the Jovian Standard Time. There's nothing in here right now that I need, just my uniforms and some toiletries. The light switch for the rest of the room is there. Should I use it? Yes. Okay, it's dark in here. That's pretty cool. But see, again, that's just like a nice little bit of information, you know, like, it's a nice little feature. Oh, it looks like I've been instructed to report to the bridge to meet with the captain. I haven't met anyone yet since my transport to the spaceport ran late. I just about made it on board before launch. Select the move option to move to a different location from the list of options. If you change your mind, select the button again. You step out into an empty corridor. The door to your quarters gently hisses shut behind you. The keypad gives a short series of beeps as you hear the lock engage. The dull thrum of the ship's systems is barely audible, but otherwise, you are stood in total silence. The air is cooler outside of your quarters, and the corridor has a sterile lack of aroma. This has been the same for every ship that you've been stationed on, and at this point, it doesn't surprise you. Okay. This is a Swift-class patrol vessel, which means if I leave this quarters block, I'll be on the fore side, which would be fore and aft. So I believe fore is the front, aft is the back. If I go right towards the aft, I'll arrive at the central hub, then I can head to the bridge. You leave the crew block behind, and you find yourself in a much larger corridor that stretches off to your left, with multiple smaller corridors leading from it. To your right, the corridor leads to a large plaza-like space. A very faint breeze coming from your left ruffles your hair and chills you slightly, and you hear the sounds of human activity. From the right, you can hear the hum of the ship's engines more clearly now. as well as the occasional low, quiet whirring sound. Looks like I was right. This portion of the thoroughfare will let me access both sets of the crew quarters, the mess hall, the hangar, and the central hub. From there, I can access the rest of the ship's areas. I should hurry and meet the captain before I look anywhere else. As you enter the central hub, you hear a low whirring noise, and the engines grow louder. You can see the readouts above the elevators change, letting you know someone is using it to travel to another part of the ship. Looking around, you see the entrances to both the fore and aft side thoroughfares, as well as the corridor to the airlocks. These elevators will take me to the bridge, where the captain will be. I shouldn't waste any more time. I could stop and look for a minute. What am I doing? Like, somebody put a lot of effort into the flavor text in this game, and I want to read some of it. Most of the ship can be accessed from the two thoroughfares, but some areas, like the bridge, are situated on different levels. So need to be accessed by elevator. There should be access for maintenance crawl ways around here somewhere. But those are usually for only emergencies. That way leads to the aft of the ship. I'm not totally familiar with the Swift-class ships, but I at least know that the engine room is that way. That's the fore side of the thoroughfare. That's where I've come from. The crew's quarters. Hangar and mess are all that way, probably. Okay. Nothing else to click on? Not these panels? Okay. Let's go to the bridge. Knowing that you need to report to the captain, who is at this point of the ship's journey, should be stationed on the bridge. Excuse me. You make your way towards the elevators and press the call button. You step back and watch the indicators above each elevator, waiting for one to arrive. As you wait, your mind begins to wander. As you're caught unaware. As you feel something suddenly jab your back, and a voice from behind you declares, "Hands in the air, identify yourself." Your posture stiffens as you snap back to reality, caught completely off guard by the voice behind you. Thoughts race through your mind as you try to figure out what's going on. Could there be another security detail on board? That shouldn't be possible. As far as you knew, you were the only one. Unless... I said hands in the air, punk! I don't know who it is. It could be a guy. You tentatively raise your... Oh, sorry. You scroll the mouse wheel, you get that. You tentatively raise your hands, palms flat and facing forwards, as whatever has been thrust into the small of your back is removed slowly. You hear the person behind you take a step backwards. You exhale and begin to turn around. Lieutenant the Cat, security detail, ID SO24254-JSFG. I'm on my way to meet the captain too. It is a girl. She's cute. Where you'd been expecting a gruff crew member, instead you're met with a bright and cheerful officer waving a pen around with a large smile on her face. You're taken aback for a moment, as this isn't just any officer. This is Cassie. Cassie, what are you? Bernie, I've missed you so much. You big doofus. You should have seen your face when you turned around. You were all... I love that face you make when you think you're in trouble. It's like you're playing the big soldier. It's like you think playing the big soldier will get you out of trouble. It's so cute. Lieutenant... Words are hard. Give me a minute. Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn. That's a great name. You should have known, really. She's always been one for bad jokes and stupid pranks, as long as you've known her. Her less-than-professional attitude and penchant for irresponsibility is the reason why, despite her talents, she's not commanding a ship of her own. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good did I get you? You totally thought you were, it's probably not her voice, huh? You totally thought you were being busted, right? But if you're being honest, her playful nature is what attracted you to her in the first place. You've been dating for nearly 2 years now, and a lot of that has been over electronic mail or letters. Your postings have never lined up until now. Cassie, what are you doing here? I thought you were stationed on the Reliant. I think that's the word, Reliant. You never said you were transferred. You never said you were being transferred. What happened? Well, the thing about that is, you might say that we had a disagreement. You might say that a disagreement with the head of operations on the Reliant led to a lateral trajectory for my career? Cassandra, please. Okay, so maybe when it came time to change the ship's cybersecurity passwords, I couldn't be bothered to spend all day sitting at the computer core, waiting for it to generate new codes, so I just changed all the existing passwords by a single digit. You placed your face in your hands as a dull groan rises from the back of your throat. It's not the first time you've heard a story like this. And maybe it turns out that when they run the security drills, they assume that the enemy will have your old passwords to try to brute force from those. And maybe that meant that the ship was compromised in 0.5 seconds? She is so cute. I love her little animations. They did really well with this. But at least they found out that I'd done that in a drill and not in a real engagement, right? I've basically saved the entire ship in advance. I'm surprised you're still even stationed on... Oh, sorry, that's me. I'm surprised you're still even stationed on a ship. How are you not stuck back in the... Words are hard today. I'm surprised you're still even stationed on a ship. How are you not stuck back in a records room at Europa? At a Europa colony right now. Well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but if I can't trust you, then who can I trust? It turns out the mission was organized at really short notice, and the Gundog was the only ship available. The problem was that they'd been having issues with the crew, so they had to transfer in some short notice. Lucky for me that I'd so recently been made available. That's weird. I'd only just been stationed on the Duke, so that I shouldn't have been free to be transferred. I keep reading her as me. I'm sorry. Okay, you figured it out. I may have used one of my contacts from the Academy who works in Resource to transfer you here. I'm pretty sure you know every regulation you broke by doing that. Oh, what was I supposed to do? Get stationed on a tiny ship heading out to the middle of nowhere with nobody on my crew? We haven't seen each other in months. Aren't you glad to see me? Of course I'm glad to see you. I've missed you too, you know? It's been a long time. You don't become a part of the Reliance Operations Department without some serious talent. I'm not going anywhere. In other words, she was dumb-dumb. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you said you were on your way to see the captain, right? You have the chance to take a look around the ship yet? No, not yet. I was going to... Great! I'll show you around. I've been here for a few days, so I basically know the ship like the back of my hand. Where do you want to go first? I was on my way to see the captain. I felt the engine start up, so I know we're launching soon, so I thought I should probably go report to him as soon as possible. Oh, don't worry about that. I've already logged you on board, so it's just a formality now. Besides, Captain Bartholomew's isn't exactly a stickler for procedure, so we can check out anywhere you want before we head up there. Well, alright, if that's the case. Great! This is going to be the best tour you've ever been on. By the way, it's over. By the time it's over, you'll have seen every inch of the ship and met everyone on board. It's been so long since, it's hard to keep her energy up. It's been so long since we last saw each other, too. We definitely need to take time to stop by my quarters to get reacquainted. Ooh. You can access every area of the Gundog. Select the talk button to view a list of who is available to talk. If you change your mind, select the talk button again. You look around the central hub as Cassandra already begins to make her way to your first destination, waving at you to follow. It might be a small ship, you think, but there we go, that's better. It would be the perfect opportunity. Now would be the perfect opportunity to learn its layout and familiarize yourself with where you'll be spending your current duty. Plus, you admit it wouldn't hurt to meet all of the crew. Better to get to know them sooner rather than later. Okay. Let's go to sickbay. The elevator doors hiss open as you both step into the wide open room. You immediately are struck by the glare of high-powered lights that are set into the ceiling. And just as you regain your vision, the powerful aroma of clinical disinfectant burns your nostrils. Looking around, you see the standard features of the sickbay. A set of beds that extrude from a wall on one side, and a large gallery window set into a wall on the other, indicating the presence of a surgery wing. The walls are lined with cupboards, and the cabinet containing medical supplies and various devices sits on the countertops. In the middle of the room is a large desk to face the entrance. On the middle of the closest to you are two chairs, and on the other sits a figure that you almost mistake for a piece of medical equipment until they look up. Hello, Cammy. Miss Quinn, excellent timing. I've just finished the analysis of your... Hey, Doc! Don't worry about that right now. I'm giving the tour to our new security officer. Very good, Miss Quinn. Hello, Lieutenant the Cat. I'm the ship's doctor. Sifa. Rosarium. I've reviewed your file already, so please feel free to stop by with any complaints. Dr. Rosarium. Okay. But since you're here, Miss Quinn, I'd really like to talk to you about your gastro... Honestly, Doctor, it's fine. We can talk about it. Intestinal. Doctor, later! Distress. She has IBS. She's an IBS hottie. Okay, Doctor, a moment, please! Honey, if you could just give me a few minutes with the doctor? Yeah, no problem. Cassandra grabs the doctor by his sleeve and drags him over to the surgery wing, yanking him through behind her. Once the door closes, you can't hear them, but you can still see the two of them through the gallery window. You decide to turn your attention away and examine a nearby poster on space illness. Yes, thank you, Doctor. I understand. So that includes any synthetic meats or carbohydrates. Understood. But as I've explained, you've got a full supply of NutriShake powders that should serve as a balanced replacement for meals from the food vendor. That should elevate your... Doctor! Tummy troubles. This tour is moving on. Ah, Lieutenant, are you feeling unwell? No, I'm feeling fine. Have you come to pick up any medication? No, I'm totally alright, thanks. Have you come in for a precautionary checkup? No, nothing like that. Then are you here to ask about my mechanical elements? What? No, of course not. Oh. Well, in that case, Lieutenant the Cat, I'm not sure I can help you today. Don't worry about it. Those beds are for patients who need to stay in the sickbay for whatever reason. All the monitors behind them are to display the patient's vital statistics. It's rare you'll see one used. My name's Sebastian, JF. All those cupboards and cabinets are jam-packed with different medical supplies, tools, and nutritional supplements, and so on. I guess it's good to have it all on hand. That portion of the sickbay is separated off for surgical procedures. It has its own separate environmental controls and is completely sealed from the rest of the ship when in use. It also contains robotic assistance units. It's state of the art, but you'd still never want to end up in there. Forsyth Thoroughfare. As you head away from the central hub, the noise of the engine becomes quieter. The ambient temperature feels noticeably cooler. The thoroughfare stretches out in front of you, with doorways leading to other areas in the ship visible in the distance. And here we are in the fortified thoroughfare. I know. I went to my quarters earlier when I came aboard. What did you just say? Forsyth Thoroughfare? No, I don't think you did. I 100% said Forsyth Fur Fair. Aha! It's a tricky thing to say. You try saying it quickly. Forsyth Thoroughfare, Fortified Thoroughfare, Fortified Thoroughfare. Aha! Yourself! We'll call this one a draw, you Lieutenant. Visually put a fair bit of work into the scenes and look. I agree. Fire control. Moving beyond the mess hall and the hangar access, the two of you continue to the furthest end of the Forsyth Thoroughfare. It's not that hard to say. Forsyth Thoroughfare, Forsyth Thoroughfare, Forsyth Thoroughfare. There you go. The door at the end of the hall, the end of the corridor, is shut. The words "Fire Control" painted on it in large stenciled letters. Cassandra swipes her key card through the reader by the door before turning to you. So this is Fire Control. The gunner's probably here, but, well, you'll see. That's pretty cryptic. As you follow Cassandra through the doorway, your eyes take a moment to adjust as the strip lighting that illuminates the rest of the ship is now conspicuously absent. Instead, the entire room is lit by the phosphorescent glow of an alcove full of screens and readouts. Looking at the screens, each one seems not to be showing much more than a few specs and on a black background. From experience, though, you know that what you are looking at is a live feed from all the cameras all over the ship's exterior. In the center of this alcove, facing away from you, is a seat. The ones on the bridge from this angle. It's impossible to tell if there's anyone in it, but you notice a tinny rhythmic hiss coming from it. So anyway, all the ship's weapon systems are controlled from here. Their screens give the gunner a panoramic view of... Is the gunner here right now? You look over Cassandra's shoulder at the back of the seat. You swear you could see a quick flicker of movement, but you can't be sure it's not just the flash of the readout reflecting from off the surface. Oh, Dylan. Yeah, he's here. Should we say hello? Well, normally I would, but... Cassandra leans back slowly, as if trying to surreptitiously sneak a peek at what's on the other side of the chair without it noticing her. She quickly turns back to you after the moment's pause. You just looks so in the zone, you know? It'd be a shame to interrupt him. What is he, like, beating off? Interrupt what? Cassandra leans back again. After a moment of, she quietly gestures for you to come take a look. Oh, thank God he's not. Sat in the chair is a man who looks a little older than you. Really? His eyes are closed, and his face paints a picture of absolute serenity. I've never felt serenity in my life. Over his ears is possibly the single largest pair of headphones you've seen in your entire life. As he sits there, oblivious to your presence, his right leg bounces up and down, and his wrist flicks constantly. You wonder for a moment if he's okay. Before spying a cassette player poking out of his jacket pocket, you realize that the hiss you hear is the slightest whisper of music that he is listening to. He's listening to escape from those listening to escape from those substantial headphones. Is this okay? Shouldn't he be a bit more attentive? Don't worry, it's fine. He's not even on duty. Yeah, but what if there's an alert? Let's find out. Cassandra moves over to the panel just before the monitor-laden alcove, takes a receiver off the wall, and enters a few numbers into the keypad. Hi, Vanessa. Yeah, it's Cassie. Can we test the alert system and fire control? No, I know it's not scheduled. It's a spot check, yeah. Random testing. You know, Chief's orders. Of course she asked. Why would I be asking for a spot test of the alert in the fire control system if the Chief didn't ask? You're a darling. Thanks. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Loud! In an instant, you see the figure in the chair bolt upright, yank his headphones off, and lay his hands on the fire control systems, his head snapping back and forth as he rapidly surveys the wall monitors. False alarm? Hey, Dylan. Don't mind us. We just had to do a spot check on the alarm system. Chief's orders. Oh, hey, Quinn. No problem. I gotta give him a better voice. All the guys can't just be Bernie. Who's this? Lieutenant Bernie the Cat, ship's security. Oh, hey, Warrant Officer Dylan Dees. Gunner, welcome aboard. Dylan Dees nuts! Thanks. Well, let me know if you guys need anything. That alert totally got in the way of an awesome solo. I'm gonna need to rewind and pick up where I left off. Oh, my eyes are bugged out. Hello, Texaco. And there is only one Bernie. Yeah, honestly. How's that quote? Hold on. How's that quote go? This is a quote that describes me very well. There he goes, one of God's own prototypes. A high-powered mutant of some kind, not even considered for mass production. Too weird to live and too rare to die. That's the description of me in a nutshell. Anyway. Good to meet you? I think I missed that dialogue that he was gonna say. Meet Dylan. Cool. Look. Every single one of these screens is linked to a camera on the ship's hull. Although it doesn't look like it, this represents a 360-degree view of the gun around the Gundog. I'm gonna assume this says something similar. Yeah. I've never been on a ship as small as the Gundog. But the controls for the ship's weaponry don't look anything like they do on a bigger ship. They look more like they belong in an office or something. Alright, let's leave. But thank you, lady. I appreciate that comment. Hangar, mess hall. Let's go to hangar. Let's go down the list. As the two of you head down the four-side thoroughfare away from the crew's quarters, Cassie stops by a double-sided doorway and runs her keycard through the reader next to it. Watch your step, she instructs, tapping her knuckles on a large warning sign next to the door that reads Low Gravity Zone.
Extra thick.
Is Cassie extra thick? I'm gonna turn the game down a little bit because it's blaring in my ears and I have my headphones turned down. Once the door opens, she heads through and you follow her into a wide stairwell. It takes 2 sets of steps before you feel yourself growing lighter. By the time you reach the doorway at the bottom, you're almost floating. Holy shit, those are Gundams! I love Gundams. Stepping into the hangar and onto the catwalk. I was about to say the ship. The catwalk, the first thing that strikes you are the profiles of 2 armored frames stood as if on guard, facing the main area of the hangar. Although you fully expected to see them here, every Jovian ship features at least a few. The sight of the armored frames still stirs uncomfortable memories in you, and you inadvertently grit your teeth and squeeze the handrail you've grabbed tightly. This is a flashback. Ma'am, they're firing on us. There's too many of them. Oh my god, ma'am, help! Signal lost. The line of retreat is totally cut off. We can't get back to the ship. Ma'am, what do we do? What do we do? Stop panicking and form up 3 and 4 on me. We're going to punch a hole through their formation and... Bro's got PTSD. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It's just, change in gravity level. It left me a little queasy. I know how you feel. I was late for a hangar audit once and rushed down straight after a big lunch. I was moving so fast that the gravity shift my stomach contents couldn't keep up. Gross. Tell me about it. I did everything I could to keep my mouth shut. You know the rule for low gravity zones. What you spew is left up to you. I wasn't going to be late for and on cleanup duty. Speaking of duties, shouldn't there be someone around here? Dalton should be around here somewhere. If you're feeling funny, stay here for a moment and I'll go see if I can find him. Sure. You watch as, despite the 15-meter difference, the 15 metri difference between the catwalk and the hangar door, Cassie nonchalantly places 2 hands on the handrail and deftly vaults over it into the emptiness. Thanks to the low gravity, she doesn't fall, but instead kicks off of the railing, propelling herself through the air. As Cassandra drifts off, she eventually catching on to one of the armored frame's legs, using it to swing herself around and float to a different location. You place your elbow on the railing and your head in your hand. You turn your attention back to the stoic features on the armored frames' heads. You sigh deeply. Your attention is caught by the cockpit hatch on one of the frames, half being open. Looking around, you see everything as you expected. Armored frame weapon racks, storage containers, various equipment, all of it restrained appropriately and fastidiously arranged. I might need to get a bottle of water. The cockpit hatch is the only thing that breaks the pattern. It's weird that I can't find him anywhere. I know it's definitely his shift right now, so he should be around here somewhere. Looking past Cassandra at the armored frame with the ajar cockpit hatch, a thought strikes you. I think I might have an idea. Follow me. You carry out the same vaulting maneuver that Cassie had performed, and kicks off towards the huge machine's cockpit. Once close enough, you grab onto its arm and pull yourself towards the open hatch. A few seconds later, Cassie appears. Um, beside you, and you both notice the sound of gentle snoring coming from within the cockpit. Well, Lieutenant Commander, I think this is an operations issue, so I'll let you handle it. Leaving the discipline up to me again, huh? Cassandra nimbly clambers up the frame, the armored frame, positioning herself right above the cockpit, bracing herself onto the machine's chest. She brings her heel down sharply and repeatedly on the armor. Cadet Grange, attention! You hear a muffled scream from within the cockpit, followed by a dull thud, a string of muttered cursing, and then a figure emerges from the cockpit. Ma'am, I was just checking the calibrations. The calibrations on the AF. I got some feedback that, Oh, it's just you, Commander Quinn. Excuse me? Just? Is that how you address a superior officer, Cadet? Oh, ma'am, no ma'am. I was just expecting to see you in the hangar, ma'am. Okay, you can tone it down a bit, Dalton. Oh, yes, ma'am? Good enough, I suppose. Anyway, Cadet. This is Cadet the Cat, the ship's officer. Security officer. Oh, sir, Cadet, Dalton Grunge, junior engineer. Good... Good to meet you, Cadet. Looks like they got you working hard. Looks like, oh, no, sir. Well, that is, yes, sir, but not that hard. I'm falling asleep. No, sir, I was just calibrating the sensor array on the... Take it easy, Cadet. We've all taken a nap in a cockpit in our lives. Well... Of course, we never took cockpit naps. With the chief giving us our orders. So you probably need to get back to whatever you were doing, huh? I totally forgot. She's gonna kill me. Good kid, right? I feel sorry for him already. He definitely gets yelled at. Like, you know he gets yelled at. Those two armored frames are both Juno models, the workhorse of the Jovian colony fleet's military. They look like they're a newer type than the one I piloted on Kaleki. On the Kaleki, I believe is the word. Oh, we got ads. Okay. Let me save really quick. Holy shit, they have different when we get back, I'm gonna have to tell people this. Jesus Christ. Oh.
Watch the show or watch the show. Thank you.
That gave me a fucking jump scare. That scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Let's wait for the ads to be over. Alright, we should be back, from the looks of it. All good, how is the game today? It's very good, it's a visual novel, so I'm in my element, because, you know, I'm good at doing the whole voice acting thing. Anyway. Excuse me. Welcome in, everybody, from Ventrolic Stream. I'm Bernie VTuber, I'm a little orange cat, I play a lot of different games. We've been making our way through Alan Wake. We've been playing a bunch of other things, too. We play, action-adventure games, point-and-clicks, all kinds of different games, really. Because I like them, and they're fun. Trying to put it about right there. But welcome in. Thank you for the raid, Ventrolic. I really appreciate it. Hey, Gizmo. Welcome in. I wanted to point this out really quick, guys. Look at the different art styles that we have available. Like, they have a Dojin mode. Like, this looks so cool. Like, you can have different art styles. I'll swap between all of them during a cutscene so we can see what everybody looks like. Now, this is really fucking cool. There's also a maintenance airlock somewhere so that the whole hangar doesn't need to be depressurized if there's work to be done outside. That's smart. Alright, mess hall. Here we go. Oh my god, look at her! Look how cute she is! Yeah, it's just a little loud, that's why I turned it down. Look how cute she is in that art style. I like that. Let's look at her in studio mode, which is just... So these two are kind of just different. That's actually genuinely cute. The developers of this went through the effort of not only just recoloring, but also... like, having a different art style entirely. That is adorable. I really like Dojin mode. It reminds me of, the No More Heroes point and click. And here we have the highlight of this entire tour, the mess hall. Cassandra's face is radiating happiness as she gestures through the double doorways that you're stood by into the mess hall. Looking inside, you see a canteen like any other. Tables, chairs, vending machines, it's all here. This is the highlight. It looks like a pretty standard mess hall to me. You bet. Do you know why? Tell me. Because they've got both of the different kinds of vending machines. The red one that stocks the spicy potato chips and the white one that has all the different chocolate bars. Wow, so that's all the bases covered, huh? They've got all the fundamental food groups. This is not a naughty game. That would get me banned on Twitch. I thought the highlight of the tour would be the bathroom. Yeah, if there was going to be a scene where we watched her pee or something, maybe. I don't know. I think that would be a little weird, though. How was Dune, by the way? Venge? And Gizmo, I guess, because you were there, too? You really like the art? Yeah, it's really... It's inspired by PC98 art, so it's just incredible. I'm not sure. Hey, Quinn! A rough voice calls out to you from further in. You hadn't noticed them previously because Cassandra's enthusiastic presentation of the vending machines, but someone sat in the far corner stands up and drops a half-smoked cigarette into a coffee cup and strides over. What's going on, Quinn? Who's this? Lieutenant Rumney! Were you just smoking in the mess hall? Heh. Take it easy, Quinn. I was sat right by the exact extractor vent for the meal vendor. No harm, no foul. That's not the point. The extra strain on the air scrubbers from the cigarette. Yeah. So anyway, who's the hottie? Well, the cat's got her tongue. My name's Haru. Haru Rumney. What about you, good looking? Oh god, I don't know what this person is. Not bad. It's been a fun survival game. If you like Dune, it only makes it better. It can be buggy at times. Big worms, lots of sand, it's got it all. Lurkit was like, hey, do you want a key for this? And I reached out and said yes, so I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get a key for Dune, but chances are I'm not. Oh, Lieutenant Bernie the Cat, ship security. Bernie the Cat? No way, really? Last time I checked. Well, alright, good to know. That's all for me. The Cat. That's my last name, by the way. It's Bernie the Cat. You know where my quarters are, right? Yeah, I do. Nice. Catch you later. I don't know what Haru is. I guess they're non-binary. We didn't really get a gender from that, so I guess so. Good for them. What was all that about? Cassie? You know where their room is, do you? Okay, yeah. Non-binary. Cool. I mean, I do. It's near mine. I didn't... That's not what... The room is right by mine. Oh, I'm in the doghouse now. Here it is. He's in the doghouse now. Well, I told him once, I told him twice. Stop talking to girls, stop being nice. He's in the doghouse now. Alright, let's take a look. Like Cassie said, both kinds. For some reason, certain ships sometimes only have the red one or the white one. I can see why she's excited. Putting out your half-smoked cigarette and your half-drunk coffee is pretty gross. I don't know why smoking on the ship hasn't been banned yet. It has been, it's just that that person's a rebel. A standard food vendor unit. Installed in all JCF ships. It's a half robotic chef, half vending machine. You select what you want and it prepares it for you. The ingredients are almost all long-life synthetic reproductions, but pretty convincing. When you're done, you can slot the plate back in for cleaning. Cool. Can we talk to... Okay, Cassandra's here and she's probably mad, so let's, Oh, Cassie, before we go, did you want to get something from the vending machine? Chocolate? Chips? Soda? Don't think I don't know what you're trying to do, Lieutenant. I promise, I didn't get what Haru was saying about their room. Okay, but it's gonna have to be a chocolate bar. Okay, sure. Wait, 2 chocolate bars. Sure. Wait, 3! She's just trying to talk me into chocolate at this point. Move. Let's see. Alright, so that's everything here. Now it's gonna be crew quarters 2? This is the second set of crew quarters, where the operations staff, that's me, Vanessa, and Vanessa, the department heads, and the captain have their quarters. Makes sense? Of course it's obvious why you'd come this way, so soon after finding out I was part of the crew. What, do you meet... I'm supposed to be meeting the captain soon. I know, and despite that, you've let your libido guide you to my quarters, you animal. Let's maybe save that for later, okay? You tease. I mean... Let's not go in the captain's room. Let's go into Cassandra's room. Oh, by the way, you ever want to access my quarters? The passcode is 0211. It's pretty much the same passcode I use for everything. Remember that, chat, because I'm not gonna. I'll leave it right there so I never forget. 0211. Got it. That's right. It's your naval ID, our anniversary, your lucky number. Come on, you didn't think I'd forget, did you? Hey, good job. Wait. Before you go in, can you give me a few minutes just to tidy the place up? I was almost late for my duty shift this morning, so it's kind of a mess. Let me put away some stuff, okay? Yeah, sure. keeping herself between you and the entrance to her room. Cassandra opens the door, using the control panel to its right. As it opens, she swiftly steps through, and before it's even all the way open, it closes again, using the panel on her side of the entrance. The entire time she obstructs your view of the quarters. Thanks, I won't be long, promise. A few minutes pass, and you continue to stand gingerly outside of Cassie's quarters. You hear the occasional footsteps from the four-side thoroughfare, but they all move on to other parts of the ship. Thankfully, no one stops by to ask why security is lurking outside of one of the operation officers' quarters. Hey, Cassie. You give the door a gentle knock, leaning against the wall and continuing to remain on the lookout for anyone that may have some questions about what you're doing there. Hey, how's it going in there? Oh yeah, almost done. Just give me a minute or two. To sort this out, and, The last pause is followed by a loud bang and the sound of a small cascade of various objects onto the floor. Okay, maybe a few more minutes. You sigh and step back from the door. If anyone asks, you can always tell them that you're doing spot checks for contraband or something similar. Done! Come in! Oh, what a fucking mess. I knew it was gonna be a mess. You could tell this is a girl's room. You can tell 100%. Welcome, make yourself at... As you step through the door frame, the toe of your boot catches a discarded pair of leggings, which were held in place by the other foot. As you begin to fall, you reach out to latch for something to stop yourself. Unfortunately, the chair you reached out for has a uniform thrown over the backrest, which slips as you grab it, bringing the chair and the assortment of cosmetics on the seat clattering to the floor with you. Oh no, Bernie, are you okay? I'm sorry, I thought... Cassie. Yeah? I thought you said you were tidying this place up. I was! Then why did I get brained by a falling hairdryer? There was a system. You get back to your feet and right the chair as Cassie quickly grabs the assorted bottles and tubes that fell down with you, placing them randomly back on the nearby surface. As you almost launch into a speech about securely stowing possessions in case of high-speed maneuvers, you stop yourself. Doesn't the captain ever carry out spot checks? Or surprise inspections? No, it's great. From what I've heard, her quarters are in a worse state than mine. Ooh, it's a lady captain. Reminds me of Captain Thigh from Leisure Suit Larry 7. Is that right? I've still got the rest of the ship to check out. Plus, I should really go and see the captain soon. I don't think there's time for that right now. Damn it. The front panel of the storage looks like it's barely managing to stay shut. Could that be what the bang was earlier? Like everything else in this room, the terminal appears to be in use as extra storage space. Even the chair is covered in stuff. Since Cassie's in operations, you think that she would make more use out of her terminal than anyone else on board. But I can't see how she uses it like this. Are those printed photographs? Aren't those cool? They're from our first date at the Europa amusement park. I took my Pixie camera straight to a specialist printer the next day and got copies made. I even wrote the date on the back so I'd never forget our anniversary. Aww. That's us. Wow, I never knew you were that sentimental. I knew I was onto a good thing when you held my hair back so I could barf mid-rollercoaster ride. You don't meet many people that considerate when you're dating within the forces, let me tell you. Yeah, now that I think about it. That wasn't the most romantic date I'd ever been on. You still called me back for a second date, though. I guess I must have been pretty desperate. Hey! Joking, joking. Next time I'll keep my wits about me for any inadvertent booby traps before I come in. Do you guys think the captain's gonna try to hit on us? I don't think we're gonna end up meeting anybody in Corridor 1. Let's go to the bridge. I want to meet the captain. Oh, there's airlock, sick bay, aft thoroughfare. Here we go. As the two of you leave the central hub behind you and travel down the aft thoroughfare, the hum of the engines continues to grow louder. You'd effectively filtered the noise out of the rest of the ship. But as you got closer to the rear, its volume increased considerably. Oop, I right-clicked, sorry. Are the engines supposed to be that loud? Are the what? I said, are the engines supposed to be that loud? The what? I said, are the engines? I heard you the first time. I'm just messing with you. You could have fooled me. Never been on a ship where the engines are so noticeable. Is it supposed to be like that? Supposed to? No, not really, but the Gundog is a Swift class. The type of patrol ship that's designed for rapid response. They're made to cover large distances in space, large areas of space quickly, and offer basic assistance to ships in distress. That, or to be the first on the scene to gather intel and issue warnings if anyone comes too close to Jovian space. Which means, design-wise, they are prioritizing speed over everything else. I guess the best way to sum it all up is that the Gundog is basically a huge set of engines with a tiny ship strapped to them. Well, that's reassuring. Oh, it's fine. It just means there's no space for systems like motion dampeners or soundproofing. You'll miss it when you leave. Engineering. Ooh, armory! You swipe your key card through the key reader and set into the terminal by the armory's door. Instead of the door opening as you would expect, you hear a harsh tone from the terminal. Looking at its screen, you see a message displayed in the large flashing letters. Access denied, insufficient authority. It looks like your clearance hasn't been fully processed yet. You'll have to meet the captain before you can get into that room. As the two of you continue through the aft thoroughfare, the thrum of the engines grows louder still. The featureless paneling that has made up of the majority of the ship's interior quickly gives way to visible pipes and conduits. And eventually, the smooth flooring transitions to grating, revealing more workings underfoot. Finally, the thoroughfare leads to one huge chamber filled with masses of machinery. Terminal panels set into the side of the various apparatus cycle through different readings in the light from the screens reflecting off of the ducts and valves. All this equipment is separated by a grid of catwalks and access ladders. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is right. This is the central engineering. Pretty much every system aside from the engines themselves and central computer can be found in this room. All in one place? Isn't that a little risky? Well, a Swift-class ship relies on absolutely minimal crew. The Gundog has only 2 engineers. I think they figured it'd be easier on them if everything that was important was kept in one place. That way they don't have to run... How did the music get loud again, by the way? They don't have to run from one end to the other to get all of the repairs done if something goes wrong. Huh. You certainly know a lot about the ship's engineering. What can I say? I'm a pretty talented individual. Oh yeah? Whilst we're here, can you share some of that knowledge? What's over there? That's the... Hellenic conversion unit. And what's that? Oh, that's the, omnifaceted wane shaft. Uh-huh, and what about that? That's the, turbo encabulator? Every day is a school day. I'm head of operations, not chief engineer, okay? I don't need to know what... Hey! No one better be screwing around up there. You both jump as a stern voice barks at you from below. Looking down, you see through the grating that there's another catwalk situated below. The one that you're stood on, with a crew moving at a speed towards the ladder that joins the two walkways. I swear if I find so much as a single terminal readout out of place, I'm stuffing you two into the organics processing system. If I have to receive one more pen from behind the compressors... The crew member continues to grumble as they ascend. Ooh, hello! Ooh, damn! I need a minute, chat. That's ooh. I didn't think I was gonna have a crush in this game. But, here we are. So who are you? Quinn, you better not be here to tell me that your favorite pen has somehow fallen into the system block again. No, Chief, I got it right here. Damn straight you do. Now, make sure that you hang on to that one, or you're gonna need someone to pull you out of the system block instead. And who's this? Our wayward security officer? You got a name there? You quickly throw a sharp salute at the woman in front of you, without even checking her rank first. Not only does she loom over you physically, but you quickly pick up on a force of personality that feels like it adds an extra 6 inches on her considerable stature. Lieutenant the Cat, security officer for the JSF Gundog, ma'am. Ooh! Listen to that man business, the cat. Name's Mackenzie. Mackenzie Cathays. Chief engineer, but that's chief to you. Ah, yes, chief. Damn straight. Now what are the two of you doing in engineering? I was just giving Lieutenant the Cat, a tour of the ship, Chief. That's so. You never been on a ship before, Lieutenant? First assignment? Never on a Swift class, Chief. Only served on a strike or a supply class to date. That's so. Which strike vessels? The JSF Victory and the JSF Thunderbolt, Chief. Victory and Thunderbolt, huh? I don't think either of those two are less than 3 years old. So probably wouldn't have seen the new streamlined distribution systems. I wonder if you would have seen the power coils, though. I think the Victory was part of that production. You and Cassandra exchanged quick, nervous glances as the Chief, who previously seemed like she was about to physically throw the both of you out of engineering, suddenly begins a conversation with herself. You continue to stand at a nervous attention as she ruminates about the ship's components. She can ruminate over me anytime. Chief, is there, anything I can help you with about those ships? Oh, huh? Lieutenants, I didn't realize you were still there. No, you're off the hook, Cat. Not unless you can tell me whether the Victory was outfitted with the 3rd generation B-Pack upgrades anyway. Sorry, Chief, I don't think I could. Wonder if that's because the retrofitting takes into account the space availability in the ship's interior for minimal traversal impact. Although, maybe it could be that it takes... I think now would be a good time for us to move on. Good idea. Well, that's all, Chief. We'll just be going now. Oh yeah, sure. Don't let me catch you screwing around in here again. Can we meet her again? I like her. I like her a lot. Central computer. Let's go to that. You swipe your key card through the card reader and set into the terminal by the door leading to the central computer. The door doesn't open. Instead, you hear a harsh alarm. Okay. You see a message displayed in loud letters, access denied, insufficient authority. Oh, even with your security clearance, you won't be able to go in the main computer room. Because the staff is so small, the ship's computer handles a lot of tasks normally done by the crew. It controls a lot of really sensitive functions. So only the captain and the operations team are allowed in. Oh? I didn't think any of the ships I've been on had a computer system like this. The bigger ships usually have computing distributed amongst multiple systems across the ship. But because they've got larger crews, there's more that the people on board are responsible for. I think that because a Swift class is so small, there's such a limited crew, they need to assign more functionality to the computer. Because of that, it's a lot more vital that no one screws around with it. I see. You said that operations have access. Can we take a look at using your authority? Well, since the whole reason I'm here is that I didn't exactly take my responsibilities with the Reliance computer system seriously, the captain told me not to mess around with it. Ah. But it's not that interesting anyway. Okay. The two of you watch from around the corner as Chief Cathays continues to mutter to herself, pacing back and forth, checking terminal readouts and various displays. Eventually, she heads down the ladder that she climbed to confront you. Now out of sight, Cassandra darts towards the engine room, gesturing you over. Checking over your shoulder in case the chief reappeared that you made your way to her. Just in time for the doorway to the engine room to open and Cassandra to disappear inside before you can raise objection. Well, it's gotta be better than staying in here with the chief. Wrong, the chief is beautiful. She's tall and beautiful. The room you find yourself in is a similar size to the area you just left. But whilst that was crammed full of a large range of machinery, this room is mostly entirely filled by one colossal cylindrical engine. The pulse of the engine is now a tangible sensation as the vibrations it emits shake your whole body. So this is the main engine. Well, one of them anyway. Like Chief said, the ship's outfitted with two of these. I see what you mean. Now, when you said the Gundog's a huge set of engines with the ship strapped to them. That thing's massive. I know. I look at it and I feel like you could probably fit the rest of the ship in this room if the engine weren't there. That's because it's impossible to get the Higgs field distortion drive any smaller. Ah, Chief! Oh, Chief, I knew you said, that. So these engines are actually a combination of nuclear pulse engines built on a Higgs field distortion drive. If the HFDD wasn't there, this engine could be 10 times smaller than it is. Although I hear they managed to improve the efficiency of newer NEPs, so that it's possible that the space saving could be like 11 times smaller. Can either of you tell me how a HFDD works? HFDD? Higgs Field Distortion Drive. What are they teaching you at the Academy? It's the drive that allows the ships to move forward beyond speeds allowed by the conventional engines, although it's nowhere near faster than light. That's what lets us get around the solar system without needing to worry whether we'll live long enough to see the end of the journey. Anyway, everyone knows about the existence of the Higgs field. It's what allows interactions with the Higgs boson to give particles their mass. Oh, right. So what the drive does is warp the field relative to the ship and those on board. By doing this, it displaces the mass of a different area of space. but within the same relative. As the chief continues on with her explanation, you glance at Cassandra and see a thinly veiled look of terror on your face. You can't blame her, as you feel much the same way caught in this impromptu lecture. Then, because of the particular particles retain their relationship with each other, the general perception is that things are the same as normal. However, from an exterior perspective, the lecture drags on and on. You quickly lose track of Chief's explanation. Although you recognize the words she's saying, you no longer can make sense of the context when they come to seem like a meaningless string of sounds. Does that make any sense? Yeah, so the field is the, it's got the mass, which is, pushed? No! How do I put it? Okay, so imagine that space is a ketchup packet. And you're the sauce. The sauce? Right, the sauce. Now, what the distortion drive does, it's like a thumb on the universe of the packet. It moves the sauce around by changing the shape of the packet to push the sauce. The packet is the universe, and we're the sauce, and the drive is a thumb? You've got it. You quickly glance back at Cassandra and meet eyes as she's doing the same thing, you know, for certain. that neither of you have got it. And that's why these engines have to be so big to house the drive. Oh, it all makes sense now. Yes, definitely. Great, well, now that you appreciate the science behind it, I won't have to throw you out of here. Thanks, Chief. Anytime. Just remember, Lieutenant. Yes, Chief. Screw with anything and I'll throw you out of the airlock instead. Yes, Chief. Gosh, she's hot. Sauce? What a way to go, huh? Alright, Central Hub, let's go to the bridge. You step from the elevator onto the bridge. What seems to be a pretty quiet atmosphere turns totally silent as two women present who have previously been observing a screen turn to face you. Oh, hello. Oh my god. She's gonna yell at me. You identify the captain almost immediately by the uniform. Although you have given pause to wonder if you misjudged, as she listlessly straightens and heads over to you with an air of disinterest. The other woman shoots you a look, but remains seated at her station, quickly turning away when she realizes you've caught her looking your way. The curtsies of her reaction catches you off guard, as she quickly returns to what she had been doing before you entered. Hopefully Cassie's presence can thaw what you feel might be a cold reception. Lieutenant Bernie the Cat, entering the bridge and reporting for formal assignment. You declare, throwing a sharp salute as Cassandra quickly follows suit. Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn, entering the bridge in accompaniment of Lieutenant Bernie the Cat. You're taken aback slightly as you realize that you've hardly ever seen Cassie serious about anything, even in her position. Whether she's had the talk about her assignments, it's always been dismissive or in a joking way. You're caught off guard. You're caught so off guard that you almost miss the captain addressing you. At ease, Lieutenant Commander. You and Cassie both lower your salutes and loosen your posture slightly. There's a slight pause, which you can tell is the captain sizing you up. This formal assignment lasts a little longer than you are comfortable with, until the captain releases a heavy sigh. Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. I was beginning to get worried that the notification we had received that you'd come aboard had been a system issue. I trust that you haven't had too hard of a time finding your way to the bridge to introduce yourself. No, ma'am. I was just... You glance over at Cassandra, who is maintaining a complete straight face. We can check out anywhere you want before we head up there. Yeah, right. You fix your gaze straight ahead. This wouldn't be the first time that Cassandra's lackadaisical attitude had got you in trouble with higher-ups. There we go. Now it suddenly turns down again. I was just familiarizing myself with the ship in case I came up with any queries that I could field to you, ma'am. Oh, is that so? Well, anything you'd like to ask? No, ma'am. Very good. Well, I'm glad you can make it. Eventually. This mission is an urgent one, which is why we departed as soon as you came aboard without a formal reception. Thinking about it, it was unusual that there hadn't been a formal onboarding process beyond the dock staff checking your ID and guiding you onto the Gundog. You'd not realizing in your rush, but it was obvious. But it did make sense that it was an urgent dispatch. The ship would launch as soon as all of its crew were on board. My apologies, ma'am. My transport was running late, yes. We'd been sent the word. That wouldn't have anything to do with you, would it? No, ma'am. There was a breakdown in the... Anyway, Lieutenant. I'd like to take the opportunity to formally welcome you to the JSF Gundog. My name is Captain Mary's Bartholomews. I run a tight ship, as you expect. I anticipate that you'll carry on your duties with the same standard. Yes, ma'am. From the experience, most onboarding procedures have involved greetings and speeches from the captain that have ranged from serious to almost ceremonial. In comparison, Captain Bartomew's introduction seemed almost lethargic. Your card, Lieutenant. Yes, ma'am. Item button will activate when you are able to use items that are in your inventory. In some cases, you will need to use an item to proceed, but in others, whether you use an item or not is up to you. When possible, select the item button to open the inventory, then select the item to use it. To dismiss the inventory, select the item again. Your card, Lieutenant? Yes, ma'am. Here. She inspects it for a moment before taking it to a control panel near the captain's chair. You remain in position, not quite at ease, but not quite at attention. You watch as she enters some commands into her console and inserts your card into the slot. There's a whirring sound, followed by a series of beeps. Before your card is ejected, the captain takes it back. By selecting the function button, you can now access a map on the ship, allowing you to move from one location to the other without visiting areas in between. If an event happens somewhere on your way, it will move you to that location instead. You can also choose to view your current objectives and other important information. Return to select the function button. With this, Lieutenant the Cat, you have access to all areas and authorities befitting the ship's security detail. Your responsibilities begin with immediate effect. Thank you, ma'am. You are also now authorized to take an appropriate electroshock weapon from the armory. If you have any further questions, then you know where to find me. Dismissed. Yes, ma'am. She's hot, I'm not gonna lie. Ooh. She's a spicy lady. You swipe your key card. Access granted. Nice. The first thing you notice about the armory is that the benches and lockers remind you of changing rooms from the training center back at the military academy on the Europa colony. What, lady? What? It's true! As you walk past them, you take a closer look and realize that they're the same kind of benches used on the larger ships you've been stationed on. The ones with sports facilities and changing rooms on board. Instead of sports clothing and equipment, these lockers are filled with a selection of combat gear, from body armor or electroshock weapons to a variety of small and light weapons. You know, this is the first time I've ever actually been inside the ship's armory. That's not really surprising. It's only a security detail that would have access. Even in a situation where a ship's expecting to encounter a boarding party, it's security responsibility to distribute weaponry to the crew in advance. It's to ensure there's no panic and that the crew doesn't get hold of the weaponry that they're not trained to use. Huh. That's standard regulation, you should know that. Well, all I remember from my firearm training was that I dropped my electroshock weapon and accidentally zapped one of the other girls from operations. Our trainer made me use a hand-cranked battery charger to recharge all of the power banks as punishment. That must have taken forever. You bet. But you should have seen my gun show afterward. Pew pew! Oh my god. Which reminds me, the captain said I was authorized to collect my sidearm. Should I get it while I'm here? I should get it while I'm here. Oh god. She should not have a gun. She does not need a gun. I don't trust her with one. I'm gonna go get a drink, guys. I gotta get a bottle of water or some milk, maybe, and some Oreos. But, so give me a quick minute. What time is it? Looking at the clock. Looking at the clock. Ugh. Sorry, I had to give somebody advice on using Blender and Unity, which I barely know, but I'm smart enough to know some things, because some things are universal. Anyway, be right back, give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, you guys don't get to hear the BRB music very often. I rarely do a BRB, so I have some milk and some Oreos. But I'm also one of those sickos that just drinks milk straight up. So, be prepared. You better watch out for me. This is the weapons locker with the electroshock weapons in it. I'm authorized to take one small weapon from here as part of my role as a security officer. This one will do. Ooh, I got a gun. Gassy Bernie. Gassy? The fuck are you talking about? I didn't fart. Oh, because of Oreos. No, I don't have IBS. Surprisingly. Hmm. This isn't gonna be an eating-friendly game, huh? What's that? Just my standard issue duty weapon for my role as a security officer. It fires a barbed projectile that contains a miniature battery. It's non-lethal, but more than enough to stop someone in their tracks. I see. Absolutely. Oh, can I see? Absolutely not. Aw, come on. Accessing a weapons locker sends an automatic alert to the bridge. Even if I wanted to examine the weaponry, I wouldn't want to set it off an alarm without telling anyone what I was doing. So have you ever got to use any firearms? Why do you ask? Well, I just know your security, but you never tell me anything about... You never tell me about anything exciting. I always imagine you facing down bad guys with some scary pistol the size of my forearm. Saying cool lines like, "How many shots did I fire? I don't know myself, but the question is, do you feel lucky, bub?" You've been watching way too many old movies. Aw. Not even once? Most of my job has been dealing with crew members who get a bit tetchy after being cooped up on a ship for too long and start fights with each other. Even then, I tend to break things up and talk them down. Most of the time, no one ends up in the brig. You've got to have done something more exciting than that. Well... I knew you were an exciting action figure hero. Tell me. There's this one time a pilot found out someone on the maintenance team had been trying to hit on his girlfriend. He got so mad that he got into his armored frame and used it to corner the guy in the hangar. No way! He was threatening to turn the guy into paste and had made a real mess of the cargo containers. Because the hangars are a low gravity zone, I was able to make a jump from the gangway to the armored frame, and then overrode the cockpit access from the outside. The pilot was too focused on his engineering to notice me. Whoa, a frame jack! Did you use some cool line when the cockpit opened, like pick on someone your own size or something? No way. I put 50,000 volts into the guy's shoulder the second I had a clear shot. Aw, come on. You're no fun. This is like Hot Fuzz. Like, I am Nicholas Angel, and Cassandra is Nick Frost's character. Which is equally the correct answer. Oh. I have to go visit the other bridge officer. Excuse me, Lieutenant. I'm currently on duty. I would appreciate if you did not disturb me. Lieutenant Lord, Lieutenant the Cat is the ship's head of security. Since I'm here, you can take time to introduce yourself formally. Great Great, I've got this. See you in 5. So you're the security officer that Cassandra's been going on about. That's right, Lieutenant Bernie the Cat. Pleased to meet you. Well, I'm Vanessa Lord. I serve on the bridge as part of operations. Cassandra's told me a lot about you. Is that right? What kind of... I'm disappointed that you're nowhere near as attractive as she made you out to be. Wow! Oh, is that, right. I thought it was too good to be true. That some dashing officer would be transferred here at the last moment. Instead, we got another lunk. Well, how was it you even got transferred here on such short notice? I was looking over your records earlier, and you were mid-assignment on the Duke. Why would they transfer you instead of... Whoa, hey, look at the time. I think, your break's over, Lieutenant. Commander Quinn, I think, Vanessa needs to go back to her station. Of course. I hope this is the start of a productive working relationship between the two of you. Vanessa, I'll catch up with you later, okay? Alright. I have to go to the airlock. I love that they got the map because, yeah. And this is the main airlock. It's the main way to get on and off the ship when it's docked. Thanks, I've already been here. Oh, really? When? Oh my god, she's such a ditz. Actually, I think I'm confusing it with somewhere else. What else can you tell me? That's actually got to be one of, well, it's got one of the best views on the ship. You look around, but you can't see any windows. You wouldn't expect to on a military vessel, where an incursion like that could compromise the structure. Here? Really? Yeah, really, check it out. Cassandra strides over to the terminal set into the wall next to the airlock hatch, and quickly begins typing in commands into it. You hear a sequence of beeps as she stands back gesturing proudly at the screen. Not too bad, huh? You look at the screen and all you can see is a dark display with a few errant pixels suspended in it. Is that working? Of course it's working, look! You stare a little harder into the screen. Although it takes you a moment, you eventually realize that's an external feed. That's right. Normally you can only see out of the gun dog from either the bridge or the hangar. But the ship's covered in small cameras for the combat situations. You can access the feeds from terminals around the ship. That's actually pretty cool, but isn't the view of from the bridge or the hangar better? You know, because you're actually looking out? Well, that's because someone else around. There's always someone around. You never get the view to yourself. No one ever comes here, so it's quiet, almost like you're out there. I guess I can see what you mean. It's pretty quiet out this way, and with a fancy screen like that, it's basically the real view. I knew you'd understand. I'll add the command to your terminal access, so that you can come here and see the stars whenever you want. Thanks. I'm not gonna lie, she's so ditzy. Visit the captain's quarters. Why would she be okay with me going in her room? The captain's gonna be pissed when I go in there. Like, why are you in my room? You wanna sleep with me or something? Like, maybe? The captain's quarters sits at the end of the corridor, differentiated from the other doors in the corridor by the small insignia that sits above the nameplate. Like the others in the corridor, it displays the occupant's name. In this case, Captain Mary Spartamus. Even in your role as a security officer, there's a few rooms on the ship that you don't have access to. The captain's quarters is one of them. There's nothing for you right now, so you can turn back. Excuse me, I burped. So your quarters are down this way, huh? Well, yeah, I'd hope so. That's right, why? I was wondering where you'd be. On a Swift class, there's only two different quarter sections. One has all the department chiefs, while the other has all the crew that work within the departments. Since you're the only security officer on board, I was wondering if you'd count as a department head or not. Well, I guess I'm not. I'm just slumming it. Oh, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, I'm messing with you, don't worry about it. The head of security is typically under the captain's instruction anyway. So it makes sense that my quarters are down this way. I guess so when you put it like that. So have you met any of your neighbors yet? Well, let's see. As you step into your quarters, Cassandra follows you. She stands by your door for a moment, looking around the room before turning to face you. Wow. You really like to keep it tidy, don't you? I've only just got here. That's not a lot of time to make a mess. Are you kidding? I'm pretty sure my bag exploded the moment I stepped into my quarters. Jovian military supplies just aren't what they used to be. Or maybe it was an operator error. What's that supposed to mean, Lieutenant? Nothing, nothing. Oh, really? Ads already? Booking.com. Booking.yeah. I love being able to have even the slightest bit of intelligence to be able to give advice to people on such things. Like Unity and game programs and stuff like that. It's fun. Oh god, I looked in the corner of my room for a second, and I thought I saw, like, my cat sitting on my bed or something. It was funny. But it turns out that was not the case. Jay was sending me some wrestling news earlier. Basically, WWE is not doing well. They're $30 billion in debt. Well, their company is, anyway. That within itself is kind of wild. He's in the doghouse now. I feel like a lot of, like, really lewd stuff could happen on this ship. It's obviously not an adult game, like, I wouldn't stream one of those, because obviously you could get banned. But, yeah. Good music this game has, though. Why did I just say that like Yoda? Good music this game has, hmm? Yota is interested in such things, hmm? Birthday parties, hmm? Interested in kissing boys, you are, yes, hmm? Trouble in paradise we have, yes? Hmm? Okay, let's keep going. Nothing, just considered all the possibilities. Wait, is that... what? Lieutenant the Cat, don't tell me that. What? What is what? Your chair, it's not perfectly aligned with your terminal. I guess nobody's perfect, huh? Would have made more of an effort if I knew the officer doing spot checks was such a stickler. I suppose I won't have to report you to the captain this time, Lieutenant. Only just boarded. Hey, you want to see something cool? I feel like this may be a bad idea, but go on. Alright. I've always loved your sense of adventure. Now, check this out. If you work your fingers under the bottom of one of the panels of your bunk, you can take it off its mounting. And there's this recess behind it that you can stash contraband in. Oh! How about this floor panel? Did you know that if you use something strong enough, you can pry it open and it leads to the crawl space below the decks? So you can use it to get to other areas of the ship? Yeah. Alright, but I bet you didn't know that if you logged into your terminal and entered the secret code that you can play Snake. That too, sorry. Well, fine. I guess you probably know every secret on the ship then. Well, not every secret, but I am a security officer. I've seen and caught every trick there is when it comes to contraband. Every crew-breaking, fraternizing rules or system exploits. It'd have to get pretty technical to get past me. Wait, how do you know all this? Well, that is, back to the tour. We have nothing left to do. Catch up with Cassandra, that's it. Want to see something cool? I feel like this is a bad idea, but go on. Now check this out. She's showing me the panel thing again. Do we have to go to, like, Cassandra's room, maybe? That might be what the intention is, like, we have to talk to her here. So, how are you finding the gun dog so far? Yeah, that's it. Enjoying the tour? The ship's pretty much the same as every other one I've been stationed on. The tour is first class, though. Maybe if working in a naval operation doesn't work out for you, you could start your own business as a tour guide back on the Europa colony. You think so? Definitely. You seem to have all the insider knowledge already. And you've been stationed here for a few days. Imagine all the insider knowledge you would have you could share about a Europa colony. Yeah, you're right. And over here, we have the statue of the workers who built this colony. And if you sneak out around back, you can get inside the plinth and hide from the colony's security if they ever catch you and your friends hanging out in the park after it's shut. Then again, you don't think that's the kind of thing people would want to know? Maybe a bit more about the workers first, anyway. So you've been on the ship for a few days now. How are you finding it? Well, it's not too bad. Obviously, it's not like being stationed on the Reliant. It's a whole lot smaller, and there's way less people. But then, there's also a lot less to do, so you get more free time. Captain Bartholomew's, is pretty lax compared to Captain Singh. But then I get the... God damn it. Then I get the impression that this whole crew is a bunch of burnouts. Except for us. I obviously didn't mean that about you. So how about your transfer from the Reliant? I know, we don't need to have this conversation. I've already had it with the Captain Singh in my dismissal from one of the senior officers. Senior resource officers. Controller's not connecting. I'm just gonna try to sit back and play this with a controller. You're wasting your potential. You would make an excellent captain if you took your duty seriously. Your academy scores were excellent. I wasn't going to give you the speech, one of the only good things about not having parents is that I don't have to hear it from them too. Hey, Cassie. And it's the absolute worst hearing it from you, because I know that out of everyone, you're probably the only person that really cares. I wasn't going to give you the big speech about it. I figured you'd already had it from everyone else. I just wanted to make sure if you were okay. I figured you were feeling worse than you let on. It's gonna be okay, you know? A ship like this isn't the worst place to be for a while. And if things work out, okay, you can always put in for a transfer back to a bigger ship. The JCF is still building its Navy, so there'll be loads of opportunities. And if that doesn't work out, there's still your career as a tour guide back on Europa. Yeah, you know it. I'd probably make a better tour guide than a ship operator anyway. I think you'd be great at whatever you decide to do, and whatever that is, I'll be here to support you through it. Cassie? You're just so cheesy sometimes. Hey! Come here. Uh-oh. She gave us a hug, I guess. What do you want to do when we've got some shore leave? Now that we're on the same ship, our shore leave will line up. Do you have anywhere you want to go? Anything you want to do? I hadn't thought about it, I guess. This means that we'll be able to go on a lot of more dates now. Oh, I know. Did you hear about that new colony that they've added to the Europa cluster? It's got an ultra-efficient water handling plant. Oh my god. The planners have included a water park. We should go as soon as it opens. A water park? What's that? You've never heard of a water park? Never. They're one of the coolest new features on the new colonies that they're building. They're like lots of big swimming pools with slides and rivers and all sorts. All the e-magazines are saying that they're going to be the coolest things to go to do on the colonies once they're open. Pools and slides into pools? But like, really exciting. Huh, okay, I guess when we're next docked, we'll see if I can book us some tickets. Awesome! I hope there's a beach episode. Are you finding the unjob ship, enjoying the tour? Maybe working naval operations. I think that's everything. Yeah. Wow, Nintendo forcibly retired the voice of Peach and Toad on Switch 2 launch day. Yeah, they're doing a lot of really shitty things right now. Most people haven't really dug into it too much, but essentially what has happened recently is, I guess I can go back to my room. The Switch 2 can brick itself, meaning you won't have access to your Switch. You have to call Nintendo to get them to fix it, supposedly. So that means if you have the slightest bit of voltage like a voltage change in the Switch, it'll brick itself. It's to prevent people from hacking it, which is really shitty. And essentially, that means that say there's like a power outage, or you plug the wrong controller into it, or you try to use a third-party Switch controller instead of the Joy-Cons that they get, and you get like their third-party ones. They have the wrong voltage. They can brick your Switch and it's completely inoperable. There's already been errors with the Switch 2. There's been an orange screen of death recently reported. It's just been a disaster with the Switch 2 lately. It has not been the best thing, and what's even worse about it is, like, when you start the Switch up and everything, it's exactly the same as the Switch 1. Like, the UI is exactly the same. There's nothing new or unique about it. It's not colorful. And quite literally, because you can't there's nothing else on it yet, besides Mario Kart World, you can't, like, there's nothing else to do with it. Like, I think they have an indie store that they're eventually gonna put, and then hopefully, like, account games you own will transfer over, but it's just a waste of time. It's a lot faster startup from what someone I know is saying. That's not the issue. I'm not talking about the startup. I'm talking about the fact that it's just kind of, like, the UI and stuff isn't the same. But startup doesn't mean shit. That just means there's an SSD on it. That's not that impressive, you know? The concerns are still there. I was watching somebody, and they were like, oh, Fortnite looks great on it. Yeah, that's pretty much like what people are doing with it. A lot of people are playing Fortnite on it because there's one fucking Nintendo game on it. Because Nintendo didn't really release a whole bunch of games at once, you know? Who the hell is really gonna go out of their way to play, like, Breath of the Wild right now? You know, or pay the, like, there's a lot of people that are definitely like, I'm not paying, you know, money for Breath of the Wild again when the DLC isn't attached to that. Like, fuck that shit. I wouldn't do that either. With Cassandra leading the way, the two of you leave the crew quarters, corridor 1 behind you, and step into your quarters. Cassandra pauses for a moment, looking left and right before turning back to face you with a smile on her face. Well, that's it, Bernie. Consider yourself officially acquainted with all there is to be acquainted with on board the one and only JSF Gundog. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I did. It's probably up there with my top 5 ship orientations. Top 5? Okay, you're right. Top 3. What? Maybe a triple shift to start your time aboard the Gundog is more your taste. Well, that did happen to me on board the Thunderbolt, so if that didn't happen, I guess it'd definitely be my favorite orientation ever. What a coincidence. It looks like your schedule is cleared until tomorrow morning. Whoa, in that case, 5 stars, great tour. Especially the guide. The guide is a bit of a cutie, I'm not gonna lie. But, yeah. So now that the tour is over and your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow, if you want, we could take a look at anywhere on the ship, or if you want to call it a day, that's cool too. I think I'll call it a day. I think that's enough for now. I should probably go over the mission logs before tomorrow and get an early night. I know the captain seems pretty relaxed, but I don't want to make a habit of having late starts. So responsible. I've got a late shift tonight, so maybe I'll get a nap in too. The two of you leave your quarters behind as you both head back to your quarters. Call it a day. Yeah. Cassandra being on board has been a huge surprise, but having spent this time with her, you found that all the anxiety you've been feeling when you've boarded has disappeared completely. I thought we were gonna, like, cuddle or something. Like, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get, like, cuddle art or something. They're probably saving that for later. I'm eating an Oreo. Ugh. You can continue the chat casually about your schedules, the mission, and your plans for your next shore leave. Eventually, you reach the four-side thoroughfare and turn down the corridor. It leads you to your quarters. Okay, I'll see you soon then. Well, look who it is, the Kaliki Coward. You don't even need to look beyond Cassandra to know who's at the entrance of the corridor. Although you recognize that mocking tone anywhere, the real giveaway is the nickname, the one you thought you'd escaped a long time ago. I love how a complete misunderstanding has already resulted in me being given a nickname. Henson Cruz, or as you knew him, Kaliki 3, one of the members of the Kaliki squadron who had taken part in the battle. He had been the only one to return. Even that had only been after the ceasefire had been signed, a full 13 hours after he'd launched. From what you heard about the other crew members, he survived by playing a game of cat and mouse with the enemy forces in a debris field. By shutting down the majority of his systems and hiding amongst the wreckage, he'd been able to launch a surprise attack, taking down his pursuers one by one. When he came back to the Kaliki and saw your armored frame still suspended from its restraints, he had instantly blamed you for the squad being wiped out. Okay, and we're security, we could just shoot him. If you'd taken off when you were supposed to, he argued, the squadron could have been at full strength, enough to survive the surprise attack. No amount of technical data or arguing that it had been physically impossible for you to launch would have changed his mind. The destruction of the Kaliki squadron was on your hands. The worst bit was that you weren't entirely sure he was wrong. Yeah, it's not my fault, though. Quite literally, there was technical things stopping us from being able to launch. The ship could not get out, or the mech could not get out of the restraints. It's bullshit. What's up, Lieutenant Bernie? You're not thinking of finishing your first day without meeting an old friend, right? Fucking Haru. Then Haru came and told me that some lieutenant called Bernie the Cat was our new security officer. I had to come to take a look. No way could it be that went back on Kaliki. He had to have been dishonorably discharged for dereliction of duty. So I guess the JCF is so desperate that they'll hang on to anybody, no matter how much of a screw-up they are. How'd you end up here? They decided they couldn't handle a full... You couldn't handle a full-size ship, so they put you on the smallest crew they could find? You instinctively make your hands into fists, but unclench them quickly before Hansen notices. You haven't been stationed on the same ship as him since the Kaliki. Kaleki. Fuck it, who cares? But you'd run into him a few times on board the colony whilst you were on shore leave. Each time had ended badly. Push back. You try and stop yourself. Hansen has always been able to push your buttons, and you can't help but snap. It's all you can do to not just draw your electroshock weapon and take him out here and now. In the back of your mind, you know you'd be able to justify it. Back off, Cruz. Whatever issues you've got with me, you can stow it. I'm not going to take your crap because you think you're hot shit on a two-frame ship. Big talk for someone who's never seen action. You want to go a few? Come at me. Or are you just gonna hang back there and hide like you always do? See what I was saying, Haru? The lieutenant here's a coward. Has been since day one. He won't fight. He won't even stand up for himself. Ensign Cruz, stop this right now. Lieutenant the Cat is... Can't stand up for yourself, so getting this ditz to do it for you, is it? Do it for you, is it, Lieutenant? Cruz, stop this right now and apologize, or I'll order the Lieutenant the Cat to throw you into solitary and write you up myself. You're welcome to try, Lieutenant Commander, but I don't think your security officer's got it in him to even try. You think that you can take me on? Show him you mean business. Somebody twist his balls already. Hi, Ornus. See, show him you mean business means that we're probably going to get yelled at by the captain. I don't necessarily want that. Go strong and silent and remind Hansen that orders are orders. You step up to Hansen and place your hands on your hips, squaring up directly to him. You look into his eyes and wait for him to blink. A few tense seconds pass, but eventually he blinks first. You hold on to the sigh of relief for now. Ensign Cruz, that's a request from a senior officer. I suggest that you don't force the Lieutenant Commander to make it an order. You're so close that you can feel his hot breath on your face as he exhales through his nose and smirks. Why is that? Worried that you'd have to do what you'd have to do when I disobeyed it? Come on then, Lieutenant. What's it gonna be? You gonna show me who's boss on board the ship? You gonna make me obey that order? You want to think long and hard about what you're gonna do, Lieutenant? You never know when you're gonna need a friend like me. I mean, we're all crewmates here, right? I'm not heartless. I'll even help losers like you out, if you've done me a solid or two. So maybe you should act like a professional for once. So tell me why I was being professional. Or are you gonna do something stupid and show the Lieutenant Commander that you're just as much of a screw-up as she is? You take a deep breath and do nothing, stand up to him, give him what he wants. What would give him what he wants means? Cracked jaw, probably? Yeah, let's do it. You feel a white-hot bolt of anger shoot through you. Without thinking, you clutch your right hand and snap your whole body to the left, bringing your fist up in a tight arc. It connects neatly with Hansen's jaw, and the pilot staggers to his right, falling into the nearby wall. Fuck you, Haru. Bernie, stop it! Almost bent double, Hansen pushes himself away from the wall using his right hand, slowly dragging the back of his left hand across his mouth, smearing the blood from his lip across his cheek. He pauses briefly, then without warning hurls himself at you, catching you off guard and knocking you to the floor. Before you can recover, Hansen is upright and grabs you by your collar. With no time at all to react, he throws back his right arm and brings his fist down onto you in a savage blow, following it up with another and another. Your head is left ringing and your vision is blurred, but before he manages to get another punch out, you swing your right elbow into the crook of his left arm, breaking his hold on you. With Hansen now thrown off balance, you push back and grab his jacket, using the leverage to wrench him to the ground. You're now free to scramble to your feet and steady yourself. It's not long before Hansen is back up, and the two of you continue throwing punches. After deflecting the jab, you spot a perfect opening that would let you finish this. You plant your left foot firmly and cock back your arm before swinging forward. Lieutenant, stand down! You barely manage to stop yourself from throwing a punch with all your weight behind it as Cassie steps in between the two of you, facing you down. You stagger forward but manage to regain your balance, seeing that Haru has grabbed Hansen from behind and locked their arms around his. Both of you are a disgrace. This is unacceptable. Reports Hansen to the SPCA. The white-hot fury that had been fueling you disappeared quickly, and in its place you were left feeling queasy and shaky. As you catch your breath, you see the anger in Cassie's eyes that you'd never witnessed before. Well, she shouldn't be so goddamn helpless. Ensign Cruz, you are confined to your quarters until further notice. Cassie strides over to Hansen's quarters using her keycard to open his door. Standing aside from the entrance, she gestures to Haru, who, on command, shoves Hansen through the doorway. Once he's through, Cassie quickly follows this by closing the door and entering a code into the panel. As for you, Lieutenant, you're confined to your quarters until the beginning of your first duty tomorrow morning. I'm security, you can't do that. Like with Hansen's quarters, Cassie strides over to your panel by your quarter and swipes her key card through it, standing aside from the doorway once it's open. But you just about manage. Do I need to get Ensign Rumney to help you, Lieutenant? He's a fucking ensign. I'll put him in the ground just like you, bitch. How about that? You continue to stand there for a moment, your head spinning and your mind racing. As your adrenaline from your fight disappears, you begin to feel a pit of nausea in the bottom of your stomach. Now, Lieutenant. Resigned, you begin to walk towards your quarters. You wince as pain shoots through your left side, where Hansen had landed a punch. You hadn't seen any sympathy in Cassie's eyes. Instead, you pass through your door, and you hear her whisper, I'm disappointed in you, Bernie. Yeah, you better be disappointed in me. That's what you get for fucking putting me on this goddamn ship. I plan to disappoint everybody. Once through, the door slides shut behind you, and you're left standing in near silence in your quarters. You make your way over to your bed and gingerly sit down, the same pain reappearing in your left side. Demoted to declawed. Yeah, really. The thing is, they didn't take our gun away, so we really could have probably just shot her, took over the ship, and, like, drove the ship into the sun, which is probably what I would have realistically done in the white-hot rage that I hold in my heart all the fucking time. You sit still staring at the door that's locked behind you, thinking about Cassie's words from earlier. Big day ahead tomorrow for you, huh? You sigh. We'll see. April 21st, planet... Mind you, I want to point out something. The whole reason he doesn't like us and was saying the shit that he was saying was because... The whole reason he was saying what he was saying was because he didn't understand that our mech that we were stuck in got stuck and couldn't launch, so we couldn't get into battle. It would not launch. It got stuck. So we couldn't get out there and help our people, and so they died, and he was mad about it. That is not our fault. That is not the fault of us. We didn't do anything to the ship to cause that to happen. Or to the mech. If anything, it was sabotaged early, or something went wrong with it, and it wasn't our fault regardless. Needless to say, it's just better to not have any responsibility for your actions whatsoever, because it's better that way. You know, that's how I operate. 4 days have passed since the JSF Gundog departed on its mission to rendezvous with the JSF O'Brien. In that time, her crew, including Lieutenant Bernie the Cat, had fallen in the easy rhythm of life aboard. Even as the Gundog enters its outer limits of Jovian space, and is due to meet the O'Brien, there is little for the crew to do, and a general sense of routine permeates the atmosphere. The outer Jovian space. Aboard the Jovian patrol ship JSF Gundog. You're just finishing the last of your coffee as the shrill series of electronic pips begins sounding on your wristwatch. Without looking to check the time, you turn off the alarm and rise from your seat, knocking back the last of your drink before you've stood up, then taking the empty cup back to the food vendor. It's easy to lose track of time on board a military ship where the light is kept at a constant level as you rely on a series of alarms you've programmed. You know that this one means your shift is due to start in a few minutes, giving you time to finish whatever you may be doing. You place the cup back into the vendor, where the machine latches onto it and then retracts it into space. That is quickly sealed by a sliding panel. As the sound of the muffled whirring begins, you turn back to face the empty mess hall. Time to carry out the day's security checks then. Let's see. Oop, right-clicked. Fuck, I saved over the stupid birthday code for her room. Oh well, who gives a shit? I need to stop by fire control, the hangar, and engineering to check that everything's going as it should. Lieutenant Bernie the Cat, entering main engineering. You declare to the cavernous expanse of machinery and access ways that makes up the engineering section. You'd been instructed to announce your arrival by the chief. Since the last time you didn't, she nearly dropped a filtration unit on you to prove a point, and you made sure not to forget. Access ways clear, no visible detritus. Nothing seems to be malfunctioning. You stop midway through your visual checks. And no one's throwing heavy machinery off of higher levels to teach me a lesson about proper conduct. It doesn't take long for you to finish your daily checklist. God damn it. My middle finger gets heavy. I don't know why. The chief runs such a tight ship that you don't really expect anything less. Now that you think about it, she hasn't given you your daily grilling about how insulting it is that you think these daily checks are necessary in the first place. Chief, are you here? Up here, Lieutenant. Chief, are you around? Damn it, Lieutenant, I'm up here. That's weird. Not like the chief to not be assigned at her assigned duty station. I'll have to tell the captain. Damn it, Lieutenant. I'm here. Look up, you idiot. Looking up, you see the chief engineer leaning dangerously across the safety rail of a walkway a few levels above you. Behind her is a massive cabling that's pouring out of an open panel above her. Oh, Chief, good morning. Good morning yourself. I've been calling back to you the whole time. You forget to clean out your ears or something? Sorry, Chief, it's pretty loud in here. Nothing in here is running above a safe decibel limit. If you tell me otherwise, I'll come down there and recalibrate your ears. You quickly mentally calculate the time it would take her to get down to where you are, and the time you would need to get out of engineering. Although you fancy your chances, you wouldn't bet money or your ears on it. Must be me, then. Anyway, I'm just filling out the daily report, Chief. What's going on up there? Ugh. One of those clowns at the colony docks took part in the maintenance process. Taking part in the maintenance process must have done something stupid to the long-range communication system. For the past 12 hours, we've been picking up huge amounts of feedback. They must have made a bad connection, but I can't find it in all this shoddy wiring. Are you sure there's nothing out here that could be sending a signal? A broadcast from the O'Brien? Or one of our reconnaissance satellites? No chance. This feedback is way too intense. Even a standard broadcast shouldn't produce this much noise. Unless maybe they calibrated the long-range system on the shortwave bands. In that case, the sensitivity would be off, so it would... Chief? Huh? Oh yeah, like I was saying, there's nothing around here that should be kicking out a signal like this at this kind of capacity. It's like it's picking up something with an amplitude and frequency 10 times higher than our standard equipment. Uh-huh. Which could be the result of the processor loop. Or maybe I should check out the initial conversion driver next. Okay, well, in that case, Chief, I'm going to let the captain know, okay? Huh? I'll put that in my report, for the captain, okay? Oh, yeah, sure, I was gonna let her know when I fixed it, but those dolts have done a real number on this, so it's gonna be longer than I thought. Alright, thanks for the heads up. You still feel a little bit awkward checking on the fire control as part of the security report. Although Dylan's always friendly enough, you can't help but feel like you're intruding on his personal sanctuary. It doesn't help that his headphones are so big that short of shaking him, it's hard to get his attention. Well, here you go. Morning, Lieutenant. How's it going? Oh, hey, Dylan. Everything alright? I thought you'd be listening to your music. You're a pretty punctual guy, Lieutenant. So far, you've come by here exactly the same time every shift. All I had to do was find which albums would last just until before you got here. Now I don't need to get interrupted mid-jam. That's pretty impressive. Aren't you going to get bored of listening to the same albums every morning, though? Nah, don't worry about it. I figured out about 15 different album combinations. That's not including changing the order of play, so I'm good on this for this mission. Speaking of the mission, you know the drill. Anything unusual? Nothing at all, Lieutenant. Not even a scrap of debris. I've been keeping an eye on the long-range targeting systems, too. We've had a blip, but the energy readings match the O'Brien, which makes sense. Oh, yeah, I thought so. We're so deep in Jupiter's backyard that I don't think we'll be seeing anything aside from the O'Brien. Pausing for a moment, as you idly shift your focus from one of the screens to another, a flicker on one screen catches your attention. What was that? Sir? This screen here, it just flickered. What do the readings say? Oh, that's a long-range targeting system. It's fed data from the long-range communication systems, which have been on the fritz recently. Chief's been working on it, trying to figure it out, where all the feedback's coming from. Chief mentioned she was having issues. I didn't know it impacted targeting. It's kind of a thing you should be filling me in on, Gunner Dees. If our targeting systems aren't working properly, then I need to make sure the captain knows. My bad, sir. Since Chief said she was on the case, I figured it was all in hand. Well, let me know next time. That's it, though? Nothing else? Nothing at all. Alright, keep it up, Gunner Dees. Gunner Dees and us. Yes, Chief. Alright, the hangar. Let's see. Although you take the first few stairs normally, by the time you reach the hangar entrance, you're skipping almost every step. Gliding through the door and onto the catwalk, you grab the railing and heave yourself over it. As you continue to float lazily through the wide open space, the hangar you start your visual checks. Walkways clear, access points marked, munitions stowed. All the equipment and supplies seem to be where they should be. You casually shift your weight to one side of your body, causing you to begin spinning slowly. As you rotate, you glare from the hangar lights. The glare from the hangar lights reflects off of an armored frame's camera lens, almost as if it's watching you. Quickly dismissing the thought, you turn your attention back to your duties. Eventually, you arrive at the other end of the hangar, where you plant your feet on the thick steel main door. From the angle, you can take in everything that you may have missed, including Dalton, who you can see amongst the storage units, his attention fixed intently on a collection of parts in front of him. Cadet Dalton, attention! The junior engineer suddenly snaps to attention the second he hears your call, inadvertently launching a pair of pliers he was holding onto the open space of the hangar. Without gravity to stop them, they continue to sail through the air. At ease, Cadet. Stop fucking scaring him, and maybe this won't happen. As you time your launch of the door, from the door, to allow yourself to grab the pliers as you float over to the startled Cadet. I believe these are yours, Cadet. Sir, thanks. Thank you. I didn't realize you were... Relax, Dalton. I'm just doing my rounds. I'm not here to check on you. Oh, okay, cool, yeah. Is there anything I can help you with? Just the usual. Everything okay here? You haven't noticed any mechanical failures? Everything working as it should? Anything suspicious? Nothing to report, sir. I've just been working on my project. Ever since Lieutenant Commander Quinn assigned the Ensign crews to the filter cleaning, it's been giving me a lot of extra time to finish things up. Oh yeah? That's your high-density foam that sets rock hard, right? How's that going? That's right. It's, good. It's good. I'm hoping to get the chance to test it soon. These containers are full of the compound, so I'm just about to try transferring it some empty training rounds. You know, the ones that normally filled with paint. The ones that the armored frames use for practice combat to show that they've hit each other. The compound's stored under pressure, where it remains liquid. When removed from that pressure, it expands quickly. With the rapid expansion it sets. If I got this right, then we can test it by firing practice rounds at dummy targets. When the casing is destroyed, the compound should activate. Good news. Well, if there's nothing I need to know, head out, but let me know if there's anything you see that's out of place. Yes, sir, I will. Although, I was wondering... What's up, Cadet? It's nothing. Don't worry about it. If you're sure, Cadet. Alright, that's all of the routine checks carried out. Time to report to the captain. She's probably going to be mad at us because we kicked the shit out of one of her mech pilots, but that's fine. I've completed the security report for today. Should I go up and give it to the captain, or should I take another look around in case I've missed anything? Let's go to sickbay, see what's going on. Ah, Lieutenant the Cat. How can I help you? Can I help you? No, thank you, Doctor. I'm just stopping by. For what purpose? If I can't help you, then I would have to assume that you're here for some other alternative purpose. Did you intend to make small talk? No, I didn't really come here to pick up more nutritional shakes for Miss Quinn. No. On the captain's orders? No. Look, as part of your routine checks... Yes, just, doing some routine checks, checking in on you. Everything okay here, Doctor? Yes, don't let me keep you, Lieutenant. You've clearly been busy. Great, thanks. I'll be, carrying on with my rounds, then. Alright, I guess that's that. Go to the mess hall, see if anybody's there. There's no one here right now. Let's see. It might be nice to get something for later. What should I get? Buy a chocolate bar. Let's see. A silent voice bar or a Duggan Krills? Okay, let's go with the silent voice. What a weird burger name. Time to do zombie graveyard. I don't know what that is, Abyssal. What is that? Let's see, is Cassandra being fucking useless in her quarters right now? While standing outside of her quarters, you consider going in to say good morning. The two of you have always been pretty open with each other, and Cassie was not one for locked doors, freely barging in on you in the bathroom, no matter what you were doing, or letting herself into your flat when you were out. However, for the past few days, things had been a little bit tense since your encounter with Hansen. So you decide against it, just letting yourself in and knock on the door. Hey Cassie, you up? You wait, but there's no response. After about 30 seconds, you knock again. Hey Cassie, are you there? You wait, but there's no answer. She shouldn't be on shift, You give it a few more seconds before turning back. Alright, fine, bitch. Don't talk to me. I don't give a shit. Let's go see the fucking captain, I guess. What, is she gonna break up with us next? Oh, it's a game. Okay. Well, I hope you have fun with it. It looks kind of like every other simulator. A lot of unnecessary mechanics on top of everything else. This locker is a variety of small arms and light weapons to be used against external hostile forces. The emergency spacesuits are for ship security detail, which should be me. The ones stored here are slightly armored in comparison to the rest of the crew for obvious reasons. Everything else is the same, though. With Lies of P having a difficulty mode now, I kind of want to get it and go stomp the boss I was stuck on. Oh, well, that's good. You should give it a try, Cass. See, Ornis, we have a gun. Now let's go see the captain. I don't think there's really anybody else to talk to. Maybe if I can find a cheap copy. Check Kingwin. Lieutenant Burning the Cat entering the bridge. You announce feeling a sudden twinge to your left side from your fight with Hansen as you step onto the bridge. You gingerly stand at attention and raise your hand to salute, trying not to aggravate your injury too much. Looking around the room, you see Vanessa glaring at you, but she quickly turns back to her station when you catch her. Aside from Cassie, who is at her station entering commands into the console, there's no one else on the bridge, with the captain chair empty. At ease, Lieutenant. You relax your posture while still feeling on edge. After being confined to your quarters for a day, as punishment for your fight with Hansen, things between you and Cassie have been a bit tense. Good, can we break up with her then and date somebody else? Like Chief, because she's hot? Captain Bartholomew isn't with us today, so I'll be taking command until she returns. A small tut comes from Vanessa. If Cassie heard it, she doesn't show it. Oh, is that right? I've come to make my report. That's right, Dr. Rosen advised me that she's suddenly taken ill. Vanessa takes another louder tutting noise. Cassie pauses for a split second, but quickly carries on. So he's ordered her to quarters for bed rest. We're due to enter communications range with the O'Brien any moment now from here, so it's just a matter of coordinating with our patrols. Nothing I can't handle. Right, the security report. Lieutenant? Oh, yeah, of course. You clear your throat, feeling a bit awkward, although you've been on the ship together for the past few days. You mainly see each other between shifts where rank doesn't really mean much. Cassie is acting seriously didn't really seem like Cassie at all. Security report for April 23rd, PC 214. No breaches or hazards to report, ma'am. No sign of immediate threats or security risks to the ship herself. And all shipboard operations proceeding as expected with little likelihood of disruption. Speedruns for the Dead Space remake, I have not. Nothing? Well, the Chief has run into some feedback issues on the long-range communication systems. They're impacting the visuals on the long-range targeting system. It doesn't seem to be enough to stop normal operations, though she is in the process of isolating the problem area to start repairs. But that's about it. Business as usual. Here's my written report. You reach into your jacket pocket to take hold of the written copy of your morning report, as well as the completed checklist. At the same time, you subtly shift the chocolate bar underneath the pad of paper, holding on to both, and pull them out to present them to Cassie, the silent voice obscured by the documents. Thank you, Lieutenant. All taking both off you, Cassie quickly realizes there's something in addition to the report and spots the chocolate bar underneath. Well, Lieutenant, this looks like a job well done. Keep up this kind of performance, and you might make up for your conduct the other day with Ensign Cruz. You wince a little bit as the pain in your side flares up, almost as if Cassie's words jabbed you in the tender spot. As Cassie turns away with documents in hand, she glances across the display screen showing the time. Vanessa, have we heard anything from the O'Brien? We're beyond the scheduled meetup point window. Are we picking them up on the sensors? There's nothing on the sensors, Lieutenant Commander. Not that this interference is making things easy. There's a crazy glitch you can do because of zero gravity that works differently since every level is loaded at once. You can trigger it because it's attached to Isaac himself instead of the rooms like it was the original. You can use that to get out of the map and then fly to the different points in the story. If you do it wrong, though, you can fly to the end of the game and it soft locks. Huh. Well, that's pretty damn cool. I didn't know that was a thing. I'll try scanning on different frequency bands in case the O'Brien is having the same issue. Vanessa begins to flip switches and twist dials, filling the quietness of the bridge with a series of noises that range from annoying buzzes to painful shrill screeches. Jesus. After a few moments, a communication window on the main screen illuminates. A slightly distorted voice speaks. D. Reed, we're at the rendezvous area and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. I repeat, this is Lieutenant Bashir of the JSF O'Brien. JSF Gundog, D. Reed. We are at the rendezvous point and have a mission update. Please acknowledge. With Lieutenant Bashir from the O'Brien relatively clear on the communication window, Cassandra hastily grabs the microphone. Roger that, JSF O'Brien. This is Lieutenant Commander Quinn from the JSF Gundog. We're picking up your signal and arrived at the rendezvous area. Please transmit your precise coordinates. Over. We read you. That's a sweet voice you've got there, Gundog. I'm transmitting coordinates. The mission update files now. It's good to finally... Lieutenant Bashir, do you read? Vanessa, are you still getting a signal from the... The comms are being overloaded. There's a powerful signal coming from all bands, and it's... Ah! The hell just happened? Is everyone okay? Commander Quinn? Commander Quinn? Cassie! Uh-oh. Even before your eyes adjust to the minimal lighting of the bridge, you kneel down and reach out of the darkness, trying to find where Cassie has collapsed onto the desk. You search blindly for a few seconds until your hand meets her shoulder, and you move towards her. Cassie! Hey, Cassie! Say something! Cassie! Ugh. Hang in there. Lieutenant Lord, call sickbay and get the doctor up here right now. I can't! Why not? The ship's entire system has been knocked offline. Even the emergency backup systems. It's all offline. We don't have time for this. Get it back online. You rise up quickly and dash over to the elevator, slamming your hand into the call button. I'm gonna take Cassie down to the sickbay. You can... Aside from your voice, the whole room remains totally silent. Most conspicuously, absent throughout the whirring of the elevator that would take you directly to sickbay. You rapidly press the call button in frustration. Idiot, what part of offline don't you understand? Quinn's not going anywhere until at least the backup systems are online, but that can't be done from the bridge. What do you mean? How do we get him back online? It's an emergency failsafe. It's there if there's a critical failure with the central computer, and it can't function properly, then the entire ship will be shut down. Then it enters a lockdown mode until it can be rebooted. All areas are sealed in case the shutdown is the result of enemy action. The main computer in engineering needs to be physically rebooted to restore any sort of access. Of course, since this is a security system, you should know all of this. You grit your teeth to stop yourself from snapping back at Vanessa in the heat of the moment, although the process and procedure had left you completely. If you do, I read that, never mind. All you'd been thinking about was getting Cassie to sickbay, placing your head in your hand, pinch the bridge of your nose to try to focus. That's right, but this isn't the order to reboot the central computer given from the bridge, but yeah. Why'd you say we can't? 2 reasons. First of all, the lockdown shouldn't affect backup systems. But for some reason, everything seems offline, which means there's no internal communication system right now. Secondly, even if we did have internal communications, access to the central computer requires input codes which are only known to the captain, or, in the event the captain is incapacitated, the second in command. Vanessa turns to look at Cassandra, who shifts slightly as she continues to talk to you. You head back to Cassie, kneeling beside her and placing her in a recovery position. Feeling the cold steel floor as you turn Cassie over to take your uniform jacket laid over her, which currently would be Lieutenant Commander Quinn. Meaning right now, both the people who have the necessary information to get the ship back up and running are out of action. There's got to be some way around this. Weren't you listening? This isn't supposed to happen. We should at least have backup systems in place. Without them, there's nothing we can do except sit around and wait for the air to run out. What about the O'Brien? Can you contact them for support? Everything is offline. What port don't you get? As you kneel over Cassie, your mind races through what Vanessa has just told you. You know that she's right, and that all the ship's emergency action plans revolved around the backup systems being operational, which is a major flaw. There should be an emergency release button on all doors that could be pumped or something. Or cranked, or twisted, but... We have ads, so we're gonna wait a minute. It's called hentai, and it's art. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I don't have anything to say right now. Reading a lot just generally gasses me out mentally. Ugh. Oh, we got cards. Nice. Oh, these cards are kind of valuable. They're not well, nobody's selling them is really the lesson here. Interesting. Okay, we're back. You know that she's right, that all the ship's emergency action plans revolve around the backup systems being operational. And without them online, there's next to nothing that can be done within the ship. Your mind catches on that point for a moment. And you can't help but wonder whether whoever wrote the plan was optimistic enough that they wouldn't see a situation where backups failed. Whether they were so pessimistic they felt if the systems were out of commission, there was no real hope for the crew either. Pushing that thought out of your head, you desperately try to figure out a way to get Cassie to the sickbay. There's got to be something you know about the ship that would help. In your time you've spent working as a security officer, there's got to be something that you've picked up that would... That's it. In the crew quarters, the panel by the bunks can be removed and replaced. People use the space in the structure to hide contraband. What are you talking about? The ship's maintenance crawl ways are accessed the same way, if I'm right. You head back over to the elevator, but this time, instead of trying to call them, you begin to run your hands over the seams in the wall panels on either side. Eventually, you notice a gap a few inches in length. Normally, the maintenance would have a special tool to access this, but you can do the same thing with... I know, I've got it somewhere. Where is it? This thing's only good for dire situations. Okay, keycard. Taking your ID card out of your pocket, you slide it into the gap in the seam, and it meets some resistance. When it's about halfway in, you slide it up and down a few times until you feel it stick on something, which you push harder. Suddenly, you hear the sound of multiple catches disengaging, and the panel falls towards you. Taking the wall panel in both hands, you place it to the side of where it used to be attached. Now, instead of a solid wall, you can just about make out an absence large enough that someone would fit inside, with a series of rungs heading downwards into the darkness, which opens up once they pass by where the elevator currently sits. How did you know to do this? This is one of the first tricks you learn as a security officer. Ship crews get very creative with where they stash things. With these panels, it makes sense that the maintenance crawl ways are accessed in a similar way. Well, great. Now you can crawl around the walls in the dark. Very helpful. You grit your teeth and breathe. You hadn't talked to Vanessa much, but since you first met, but you were now beginning to understand why she always ate alone at the mess hall. If I can get up in here, it means that I can get out in whatever. From there, I can see if I can get the emergency input codes from the captain and make contact with the chief in engineering. Do you really think you can solve this by clambering around inside of these walls? Even if you make it to the central hub, the rest of the ship will. Lieutenant Lord, would you please keep your Thank you, Lieutenant Lord. You snap back, barely suppressing your anger at her constant pessimism. But right now, I don't see many other options except this one. And for all we know, we're the only people on the entire ship who might be able to do something. I'm not about to sit around and let everyone down. Not this time. So I'm going to leave you here to look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn, unless you have anything you want to try that you think might help. Vanessa stares at you for a moment, as if weighing up what the best put down for the situation currently is. Instead, she heads back to her station and starts flicking switches and pressing buttons on her control panel. Alright, you do that, I'll try to get some internal communication systems working. Since the backups should work in a situation like this, maybe there's some way to get them back online. The Yakuza devs are making some weird-looking sort of LA Noire-style game called Stranger Than Heaven. It looks kind of sick. If it's a spin-off of Yakuza, it might be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. Get moving, or are you going to stand around and gawk whilst I get everything done myself? You inadvertently sigh loudly as you turn around and reach down into the crawl space, grabbing a rung and placing your foot on the one lower down. Hopefully I can get things back online with the chief and the captain's help. Just look after Lieutenant Commander Quinn until then, alright? Vanessa turns away from you, adjusting the inputs and communication. Yeah, sure. With that, you lower yourself into the darkness, taking one rung at a time. Once you're past the stationary elevator, you feel the space you're in open up around you. Carrying on downwards, you reach behind you every so often to see if you can feel a catch system that would keep an access panel attached. After a few attempts to find it, your fingers eventually brush over a catch, and with some coercion, you manage to get it to release, causing the whole panel to fall off the wall behind you and clatter to the floor on the central hub. You step out of the crawlway. A loud banging starts nearby. You immediately reorient yourself to face the room, placing your hand on the electroshock weapon just in case. As you scan the room in the dim lighting, the banging continues. You realize it's not coming from anywhere in the central hub, but one of the elevators. With your hand still hovering over your weapon, you slowly move towards the noise, trying to make it as little sound as possible, hoping that whatever or whoever it is doesn't know you're there. Despite the darkness, you can see that the elevator doors are open slightly, with an inch or a gap between the two doors. As you angle yourself to try to see what's inside, your question is answered. Hey, who's out there? Whoever you are, help me get these stupid doors open. The whole thing's jammed. You pause for a moment. You haven't seen Hansen since the other day outside your quarters. I know you're out there. I heard you. Get over here and help me get these doors open. Hey, what are you waiting around for? As Hansen continues to call out, you size up the situation with the darkness of the room. You could easily come and go without him being able to tell it's you. On top of that, it's not unlikely that he'd be able to force. It's not likely he'd be able to. I'm running out of fucking ability to speak at this point. Hey, come on, this isn't funny. Who's out there? Stop jerking me around. It's petty, but part of you almost relishes in the idea of seeing how he feels to be trapped and unable to do anything. Haru, if you're messing with me, I'll kick your ass. Still, a member of the crew. He's a member of the crew. As a security officer, it's your job to keep them safe, regardless of how much of a dick they might be. Take a deep breath and help him open the door. Hold it for a second before releasing one long continued sigh. Hey, I heard you. I know you're there. Get me out. Alright, Ensign. I'll take the door on the right. You take the door on the left. Count to 3 and we pull. Great, everyone on board, and it's the Kaleki coward. Figured you'd stop by here. Find a nice little space to crawl up in and hide? Helping me out so we can trade places so you can ride it out until the action's over? You immediately begin to regret your decision. Cruz, do you want to get out of there or not? Yeah, come on. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. The two of you both heave against the elevator doors. They shift slightly as you continue to pull against it. A pain shoots up through your side where Hansen landed a blow the other day. Ugh. What's the matter with you? It's nothing. Come on, again. You grit your teeth as you both make another attempt to move the doors. They slide open a little bit further, but still not quite enough for Hansen to fit his whole body out. Huh. I thought for a second that maybe after that fight you'd put up the other day. You were stronger than I gave you credit for. Looks like I was wrong. Oh yeah, is that right? Funny that you're just as weak as I remember you being. A silence hangs between the two of you for a moment. And through the darkness, you can't tell whether Henson is smirking or sneering. Anyway, come on, one more time. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. It takes the two of you a few attempts, but you finally manage to push the doors open to the point where Hanson can make his way through the gap between the two of them. Free of the elevator, Hanson dusts himself off and looks around whilst adjusting his jacket. So what the hell's going on? What's happening with the ship? Why has everything stopped working? There should be backups or something, right? You pause for a moment. Despite having been on the bridge when everything went wrong, you probably have as much of an idea as Hanson would. Honestly, we've got no idea. I was on the bridge when it all happened. We made contact with the O'Brien. There was this flash, and Commander Quinn had been knocked out. All the systems were offline, even the backups. I managed to get off of the bridge using the maintenance crawlway. Now we're trying to figure out a way to reboot the computer to get everything back online. Just great. I knew this ship was a piece of junk the moment I stepped on board. You said you guys had a plan to get things up and running, yeah? Yeah, kinda. Great. You can handle that. I'm gonna go check on the crew, and have you seen Haru? No, I haven't run into them. Okay then, I'll try their quarters. And with that, Hanson heads into the darkness towards the fore side of the thoroughfare. He stops briefly, turning to face you. Lieutenant. Thanks, or whatever. The pilot quickly turns on his heels and disappears into the darkness. Don't mention it. Let's go to the captain's quarters. Standing in front of the door of Captain Bartermew's quarters, you instinctively straighten up, sticking your chest out and your shoulders back. You know that your access card doesn't have an encoded permission to allow you to access the captain's quarters. Even if it did, the terminal to the side of the door is as lifeless as the rest of the ship. Instead, you bang forcefully on the captain's door and shout, "Captain Bartholomew!" It's Lieutenant the Cat. Mind you, my character's name is Bernie the Cat. That's why that happens. There's been a systems failure and Commander Quinn is incapacitated. We need you to give the emergency input codes to restart the ship's central computer. After waiting for a few moments, you press your ear up against the door, seeing if you can hear any signs of life. From experience, you know that the crew's quarters doors aren't as substantial as some of the other doors on the ship. It's not uncommon to know the exact schedules of the crewmates based on the sound alone. Captain, it's an emergency! You wait a little while longer, but you don't hear anything. Damn it. You slamming your fist on the captain's door in frustration, you turn back. You'll have to figure something else out. I'd kill for a coffee right now, but I don't think there's anything left in there that'll be helpful. Like everywhere else on the ship, you're met with an unresponsive terminal and a shut door. You know not to expect much, but you try knocking on the door and calling out. Hey, Gunner Dees! Can you hear me? You wait for a response, but don't feel particularly worried that when one doesn't come. Knowing Dylan, he's probably not realized anything has happened. I don't think he'd be much of a help even if he could hear me. At least someone's probably having a good time during all this. The double-sized doors make to the entrance to the hangar remain steadfastly closed, despite your best efforts. Although the terminal to their side is dead, just like all the others, you attempted to open the double doors through brute force. Since the hangar seemed like your best bet to access for some helpful equipment. They had, however, remained inert against your efforts to pry them open during using your own strength, unsurprisingly but frustrating. Even if I managed to get these doors open, there'd be another set waiting for me at the bottom of the staircase. And this would be way harder in low gravity. You pause for a moment thinking, but can't think of a way around it. Let's try somewhere else. Moving to the armory. Yeah, maybe we could get a door. As you leave Central Hub, you enter the long corridor that comprises of the aft thoroughfare. The first thing you notice is the sound of your footsteps on the metal ringing out and echoing down the corridor. Normally, the vibrations from the engines would dull this noise, and it would be barely perceptible over their low and steady rumble. My throat's starting to hurt. You'd gotten to a point where you didn't even notice the constant noise at the end of the ship, but now, the corridor is silent. Its absence hits you. You swipe your key card through the key reader set into the terminal by the armored door. There's absolutely no response, and looking at the terminal, you can see there's no indication that it's working at all. Figures that with everything shut down, it wouldn't work. I should go and find the chief. See if there's any way we could get things up and running. Hopefully, I don't need to blow any doors open to do that, because there's no way I'm getting in here. At the end of the aft thoroughfare was the where the corridor would normally transition from a corridor into the engineering department. Instead, you're met with a substantial blast door with the words engineering stenciled onto it. You run your hand over the surface before wrapping it with your knuckles. Rather than the low ring, which would indicate it being relatively thin, this door returns a higher pitched noise, indicating that it's significantly thicker than normal. Unlike the rest of the doors on this ship, which are designed as entrances and exits, you can tell that this one exists to block more than one section off. Block one section off from the other. You instantly dismiss any thoughts of forcing it open. It's likely that even the contents of the armory couldn't shift it. After a minute or two of fruitlessly inspecting it, you shrug to yourself. The only thing you can do right now is hope that the chief is nearby. Hey, chief! You pound on the door with your fist, hoping that the sound makes its way through. Chief, can you hear me? You continue to pound on the door and yell, stopping every so often to hear if there's any kind of response. Chief, I'm out here! Hey, Chief, hey! After a few minutes worth of attempting to make contact, you stop and flex your fingers of your right hand, cracking your knuckles to try to dismiss the comfort. Given the size of the engineering department, you begin to think about how close Chief would need to be to hear you, and the odds of that happening. Before you can resume your attempts, you hear a dull, repetitive thudding coming from the other side. It's Morse code. Chief, can you hear me? I'm out here. You call, pressing your ear up to the blast door to see if you can hear an answer. Instead, you hear the same dull, repetitive thudding. At first, it seems random and erratic. The longer you listen, you begin to realize there's a pattern. Ugh. That's great, but what does it mean? In defeat, you slam your fist against the door one more time. Chief, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'll try to find a way to get in there with you. At least I know someone's in there. There's gotta be some way to get in touch with them, send them a signal. Maybe there's something I haven't thought of yet. An emergency communication system? Something that's not tied to the ship. Ugh, think. So these are all locked. The elevator's clearly out of action. I'll have to get things back up and running before I can get Cassie to sickbay. Okay. Airlock. Let's see. As you enter the airlock hatch, door looms large in the darkness. A shiver runs through your spine as you rub your forearms. It wasn't something you noticed until now. But you feel as the goosebumps cover your skin, you realize that the ship's temperature has now dropped noticeably. I've got to find a way to get things up and running again. Dead, no time for stargazing anyway. If I want to get off the ship, it'd be through here. There's nothing waiting for me out there, though. Emergency spacesuits for use in the event of ship depressurization, failure with life support systems, or if the crew has to abandon ship. They've got distress beacons and close-range radios installed for rescue situations. Hopefully I can get this solved without needing the extra air supply. The O'Brien's probably out of reach for short-range radio. If we were close to Jupiter, we could probably signal. Signal, that's it. That must have been what the chief was trying to tell me. You grab the handle on the suit's container and twist. The metal in your hand is so cold to the touch. It's an uncomfortable reminder that the ship's decreasing ability to support life. Once the lock is undone, you open the door, bracing the suit with your left hand. You grab the radio with your right. As you pull away from the suit, you flip the radio over and examine it. The bottom half of the device consists of a pistol grip with a secondary microphone and speakers that allow it to be used separately from the suit. As you investigate it further, you realize that your thumb is resting comfortably on the push-to-talk button. The top half of the unit's underside has a backlit LCD screen showing the current frequency it's tuned to and the battery level. Below the screen sits a few ambiguous buttons. To its side, a dial for tuning and a power switch. Turning the radio in your hand to find where the cord that tethers the whole unit and the suit connects and unscrew the attachment port, allowing the cable to spring back towards the suit. You quickly extend the telescoping antenna and flick the power switch, which causes the sound of the whirring static to fill the previously silent room. Then, slowly rotating and turning the turning dial, you work your way through the frequencies until a familiar voice comes through the tinny speaker. Emergency broadcast from Chief Engineer Mackenzie Carthays. This is JSF Gundog. To any JSF Gundog crew members or any JSF ships nearby. The Gundog has suffered a complete systems failure and assistance is needed to get them back online. I repeat, this is an emergency broadcast from the Chief Engineer Mackenzie Carthays on the JSF Gundog. To any JSF Gundog crew members or JCF ships nearby. The Gundog has suffered a complete failure. Blah, 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 blah. Chief, this is Lieutenant the Cat. Reading you loud and clear. I've managed to get an emergency radio from one of the suits in the airlock. I'm able to get around the thoroughfares and to the bridge, but I can't get anywhere else. It took you long enough. Don't they teach Morse code in basic training anymore? You're just about to push the button to send your response, but the chief cuts in. Anyway, you're in touch now. That's what counts. You said you could... Save really quick. You said you could get to the bridge, is that right? That's right, Chief. You get back up there and get to the captain to give me the input codes to access the main computer so that I can get the ship running again. Slight complication. The captain's taken sick and she's not on the bridge. Classic Bartomuse. Then get back up there and get Lieutenant Commander Quinn to give me the input codes. She is out of commission too. She collapsed at the same time the ship's power went out. You release your thumb, allowing the chief to broadcast, but where you were expecting a swiftly delivered alternative, all you get is radio static. Chief? Nothing's ever easy, huh, Lieutenant? Who's currently on the bridge, then? That'd be Lieutenant Lord. Well, she's the commanding officer on board right now. I guess you're gonna want to get up there. I've got an idea, but it's not something I can authorize. Your grip on the radio tightens as you sense apprehension grows within you. You don't know what the chief has in mind, but if it requires the authority of the ship's senior officer, you know it's gotta be something dangerous. Realizing that you've been holding your breath since the chief's last message, you breathe out and press the button on the radio side to send your message. Copy that, Chief. Heading there now. Radio in hand, you quickly make your way back up from the airlock into the central hub, then head straight to the maintenance crawlway. It only takes a moment of groping around in the darkness to find the ladder rung before you're on your way back up to the bridge. As you climb, each rung that you grip is cold to the touch. The air you breathe has a brisk chill to it. You know what this means, but for the time being, you decide to push that out of your head. You've got other things to focus on. The climb up seems to be a lot shorter than your original climb down, and you soon emerge back in the bridge. Vanessa swivels in her chair and paces over you. So did you get in touch with anyone? Kind of. You bring the radio back up to your face so that the microphone is level with your mouth and press the push to talk button with your thumb. Chief, I'm back on the bridge with Lieutenant Lord. Releasing the button, you walk past Vanessa, handing the radio to her before heading towards Cassie. Vanessa looks from you to the radio with mild bewilderment before the chief's voice comes from the speaker. Lieutenant Lord, this is Chief Engineer Kathy Easty Reed. As you kneel down next to Cassie to check her pulse and temperature, as well as doing your best to tuck your jacket around her, the way the chief addresses Vanessa catches your attention. You hadn't heard the chief being that deferential towards anyone, even the captain. I hear you, Chief Cathays. Captain Bartholomew and Commander Quinn are both incapacitated, so I'm in command of Gundog until such a time as they can return to duty, understood? You frown slightly hearing Vanessa's assertive position over the chief like that. Although she is the ranking officer in this situation, you'd not heard anyone on board pull rank in that way. Especially on the chief who you were under the impression enjoyed the respect of everyone on board, including Hansen and Haru. Yes, ma'am. Good. Now, have you got a plan, Chief Cathays? Or has the Lieutenant Cat brought me this radio so that we can have a chat about how nothing's working on your end? As you stand a turn to face Vanessa, you catch the last few moments of a distasteful look she'd been making whilst your back was turned. You do your best to bite your tongue. Yes, ma'am, Lieutenant... Didn't mean to do that. Yes, ma'am, Lieutenant the Cat has explained to me that both the Commander and Captain and Commander Quinn are out of commission. So I'm aware neither of them will be able to give me the input codes required to reactivate the central computer. We know that. What's the solution? The only hope we have right now is that the captain has copies of the documents that contain the access codes and reporters. If someone could get in there, then they can get the codes and tell them to me, letting me reactivate the ship's systems. Do you have a guide the raid would redeem? I do not. If we've been able to get into the captain's quarters, we would have done that already. The whole ship's in lockdown. There's no way to get in there. You notice the slightest pause before the chief responds. You could be projecting, but you get the impression that she's just as fed up as you are. Not quite, ma'am. Although all terminals and most of the hardware on the ship is dependent on the central computer, we've got a tool that we use when when something needs to be disconnected from the system. We use it for maintenance or debugging, the PTS, or the portable subterminal. It's effectively a standalone power pack with a microcomputer built in that provides enough power to activate the hardware attached to a terminal. It'll let us get into the captain's quarters, and then from there we can get the codes to start the computer back up. But yeah, sorry Tony, I do not have a guide the raid, unfortunately. I've never really done it because I usually have people to choose to raid. So where's the PTS? It's in the hangar. We can't get in the hangar either. We know that you're stuck in engineering, Kathy. Cathayus, but the story is the same for the entire ship. Another silence follows longer this time. That's true if you're trying to get in the hangar from inside the ship, ma'am. But the gun dog has 2 entrances that can be activated entirely manually. The main onboarding airlock and the hangar crew airlock. If someone left the ship via the onboarding airlock, they could make their way to the crew airlock for the hangar to re-enter there. Then they could get past get to the PTS and make their way through the ship as normal. I say. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Engineer Cathayus, but aren't yourself and Cadet Garage the only crew qualified for extravehicular activity in space? And you're currently stuck in engineering whilst we can't get in contact with Cadet Garage to bring us the PTS. Yes, ma'am. You begin to feel a knot in your gut and intentionally curse at Dalton for not having picked up enough of the Chief's know-how to have found out an emergency radio on his own. The policy dictates that all EVA needs to be commanded by an operations officer. The knot in your stomach tightens as you take a deep breath in. Vanessa's eyes are now locked on you. Yes, ma'am. The slightest hint of a smile forms across Vanessa's face. Well, Lieutenant, it looks like you're going for a walk. You'd seen this coming as soon as the Chief had begun outlining the plan. You'd been hoping that there'd be some extra part that hadn't been revealed yet. Something that would allow you to stay on board. Faced with Vanessa's directness, the knot in your stomach tightens further. A sense of nausea rises from your gut. Fine. Some people took well to spacewalks. Some even enjoyed them. So much that they'd take careers in colony construction and repair, where they'd spend more time in the vacuum of space than they did inside of the colony or ships. You were not one of those people. You'd only ever left the confines of the ship or the colony a few times in your life, and almost all of those had been evacuation drills that you had been through in school or during citizenry courses. On every occasion that you could remember, you'd reacted badly, but managed to keep it to yourself. Something about being out in the void, an attachment clip or a handrail away from drifting off into the endless nothingness of space, had you always filled with dread. The knowledge that you were a slip away from the disappearing forever, irretrievably and helpless. Irretrievably and helpless. But despite all that, you knew full well that Vanessa's discussion with the Chief, there was not going to be any way around doing this, and right now you were the ship's and Cassie's only hope. As much as you hated the thought of it, you pushed against that fear that had risen up inside you. Taking a deep breath, you resigned yourself to what you had to do. Fine, I'll do it. The chief can walk me through everything that I need to do to find my way over to the airlock. Dashing security officer diving headfirst into danger. Isn't he great, Lieutenant Commander Quinn? Oh, so selfless. Vanessa rolls her eyes, covering her mouth with the back of her hand, putting out a mocking tone. Oh, my hero, so brave, going into space to save us. Only you can. You snatch the radio off of Vanessa and turn your back to her, heading towards the maintenance crawlway. At this point, you've had just about all you can take of her, so the sooner the situation is resolved, you decided the sooner you can go back to avoiding her. Oh, quit making a big deal about this with all your huffing and puffing, Lieutenant. From what I heard, hanging out in space is something of a pastime of yours. Oh, what a bitch. And PTSD flashback. With that comment, you feel your heart, like your heart's dropped out of your chest. Quickly spin back to face Vanessa. Lieutenant? Reining in the flash of anger you just felt, you silently shake your head as you turn back around and grab a hold of the first rung of the crawlway's ladder. Chief, I'm on my way to the airlock now. Walk me through what I need to know. Wait! With one hand still on the ladder's rung, you pause and turn around. Yes, Lieutenant Lord? You just about managed to ask through gritted teeth. Don't you think you're forgetting something? You do your best to suppress the urge to scream that you can feel building in your chest. You pause for a moment and stare at Lieutenant Lord, trying to puzzle out what kind of mind game she's playing. Lieutenant Lord, if there's... Before you finish, she rolls her eyes and turns on her heels, backing over Cassandra and squatting down. You almost yell out when Vanessa lays her hand on Cassandra's hip, but you stop when you see her withdraw a keycard from Cassie's skirt pocket. Holding it between her thumb and forefinger with a flourish, she waves it at you and stands up and walks back over to you. The central computer can only be accessed by the captain or members of operations. Good luck getting in there without this. Vanessa casually tosses you the card, which you grab out of the air. You got Cassie's card. You turn the card over in your hand a few times before pocketing it. But the chief said the PTS used battery power to open. I'm gonna smack this bitch. I could see what you and her see in each other. As if hooking a battery to a door would get you around the ship's security systems. You're still going to need to have the right authority levels to get through. Honestly. At this point, your jaw is clenched so hard you feel your teeth may crack at any second. But the cold chill of the ladder rung is reminding you of the dire situation. Thank you, Lieutenant. You just about manage. You still there, Chief? I'm heading to the airlock now. Alright. I've been going for the standard amount of time. Oh. Why is that capturing Steam of all things? That's weird. Oh well. No big deal. I really like this story. I just need, like, a lot more water on hand to be able to, like, go through it or whatever. In the future, hopefully. And that should go relatively well for us, I think. So I guess we'll do more of that tomorrow, since it seems to be a very low impact thing. We're going to be raiding out to Raz. He's currently playing through Eichenfeld. So you guys can have fun watching Raz play Eichenfeld. I'm done for the evening. I might be back tomorrow, we'll see. I probably should, just because the story seems good. But thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, good night, everybody.